What is going on, everybody? It is episode 399 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Can you believe that we're at 399 already?
That's what I was just about to say.
It sounds like such a big number.
I was just about to say that. Like when I was like, oh, 399.
Yeah. Well, we're here, and we have a special guest. I'm sure you already saw. Hello.
What's good? I go by Osiris. I got a channel called Middle Maga, but we're going to be talking culture here, and you can visit my website. It's middlemaga.com. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
We're not going to talk about the Supreme Court. We're not going to talk about Biden. We're not going to talk about Trump or DeSantis or Ketanji Brown Jackson. I don't care about any of that stuff. We're talking about movies today.
So anyway, student loan debt forgiveness has been shut down. No, okay. All right, guys. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. We're going to talk about Indiana Jones and the garbage of destiny, Dial of Destiny that was not good.
And the Dookie of Destiny.
Yeah, like it's like, I saw some people in the chat.
And a straight up Dookie of Destiny.
Yeah, I saw some people in the chat saying that like, no way, it was good. Look, you're entitled to your opinion, you know, as long as you're wrong with conviction, that is fine. So we're going to talk about that movie. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Dylan Mulvaney. He's mad at Bud Light because they did not stand up for him. We got a $5 super chat from Disco Jensen, which we will not get to right now because remember, guys, if you do have a super chat, $20 and over, we will interrupt the discussion. We will read that super chat right then and there. We will get back on the discussion right afterwards. Also, remember, subscribe to this channel, like this video if you have not done so already. Please do that. Thank you very much. Another thing in the news is that 200 plus celebrities, including Jamie Lee Curtis, Elliot Page, and more, have signed a petition in which they want to ask big tech companies to censor what they refer to as disinformation regarding trans and trans youth. So we are going to get into that. There is certainly a lot going on right now in Hollywood, all of which crosses into that line. So we're going to discuss it. We're also going to talk about Adam 22. Mary, what is going on with Adam 22?
Adam 22, if you didn't know him from No Jumper, is married to a porn star named Lena the Plug, who recently made the decision to do porn with other men. And his pinned tweet is the video of their wedding. Her pinned tweet is the video of her having sex with another man. And he's coping about it very hard.
Well, you know what? Maybe what it is, maybe she's just more into current events. Like he's like, look, I like to keep something classic in the pinned comment. She's like, look, I like to keep people updated in what I'm doing. And what I'm doing right now is not you, Adam. That's what she's thinking. So, you know, we're going to get into it. We got a bunch of other stuff to talk about. So if you guys are ready, we will get right into it. Mary, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Let's go.
Let's do this. All right. First things first. The Italian government has offered the Colosseum to two of today's greatest modern warriors. And by greatest modern warriors, obviously what I mean is Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. If this sounds like we live in a simulation, it's because it does, because we probably are living in a simulation of some sort. Who do you guys got now? Like, does the location change anything?
The fact that the Italian government is endorsing it too is weird to me, because they were just going after this guy who did graffiti on the Colosseum. And
I didn't hear about that.
If you're willing to go after and arrest some guy that does that, like scrapes a heart with like the initials inside into the Colosseum, why are you letting people use it for a fight with people like attending in the seats?
Yeah.
It's gonna fall apart.
Maybe what they do is they have like a huge screening of the movie Gladiator in the Coliseum while right before as like a lead up to the fight. I also
Can they get Joaquin Phoenix in there?
Yeah, like also what I'm thinking is it shouldn't just be Zuck and Musk. It should be all of their staff should fight too. So like his whoever, like I have more interest in seeing like who is poor Zuckerberg's assistant. Like I want to meet his assistant and then watch his assistant fight with Musk's assistant. Like,
yeah, I think, man, I think that would be like the CIA versus the CIA if you're going to bring out their assistants into it.
Probably.
But could you imagine them fighting? What kind of timeline are we living in? Are they going to do thumbs up or thumbs down? Could you imagine Zuck has Elon on the ground and in some type of hold, and the whole stadium's like thumbs down, and then Tesla Nation's like, no!
Dude, and then of course Joe Rogan has to be there to interview whoever loses. He gets to do the thing where he gets on the mat and puts the mic in their face. Like, I'm here for it. And then you know what they should do after that? Because my original idea was it should be like the chess boxing, where you box around and then you go play a round of chess. Like, maybe what they do is instead they have their match and then they go on Rogan. And we see how they are able to.
Well, they have to do like a quick 10-minute debate topic.
Yeah.
One of them will be big tech censorship.
Well, yeah,
obviously.
And also,
and then whoever wins gets stake in the other person's company.
You know what I think it should be? I should be that if Musk wins, Zuckerberg has to stop calling Facebook Meta. Because it's not working.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
It's cringe. It's like HBO Max trying to be Max. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen.
Nobody's
Stop
calling
trying to
Meta.
make it happen.
At first, I thought Elon was going to train to get buffed because you saw those pictures where he was overweight.
On the yacht, yeah.
Yeah, he was embarrassed by that. So I was like, he's going to train, but he's not going to fight. But if your mom comes out, and Elon's mom came out and said, no, my son can't fight or whatever, now don't you have to fight? Otherwise, you got your mom that stopped you from a fight.
Telling you what to do when you're a grown-ass man.
Yeah, it could
You can't be embarrassed like that.
All Zuckerberg has to do is he just slides onto Twitter and goes, "Mama's boy."
Exactly.
And just boom, the fight is on.
What does Zuckerberg's mom have to say about this?
He's a boy. He's an alien. He doesn't have a mom.
He doesn't have
He was born in a
parents.
test tube.
He's an android. There's no mother.
He was built somewhere,
Yeah.
likely by the CIA built Zuckerberg back in the 50s, and then they just got him working in the 80s. No, he's in he's 39, right?
He's 39.
So
They have to send him in for updates and maintenance before the fight.
He's the actual.
Make sure he
NPC.
doesn't short
Have you
circuit.
seen, this guy has no emotion. Like he's just straight flatline.
Even when he's fighting, he looks completely neutral. like he's like he looks like his face would be the same if he won as if he lost.
I at least think that his relationship with his wife is more normal than any relationship Elon's had with a woman.
That's true.
They've been together for a while, and
How many baby mamas does Elon have?
We will never know because some of them are secret baby mamas.
Yeah.
and all the kids get weird names.
Amber Heard is definitely one of them.
You still think that's true?
I think so.
Yeah.
Still think that's true?
I genuinely do.
Wasn't there a story a long time ago that Zuckerberg's phone got hacked and the password was like Dada? It's like DADA or something like that. Like, yeah, like that his phone got hacked a long time ago. And it's like, imagine, like, I didn't even know a lot of them. Because here's those stories that, like, all the people who run these companies, like the CEO of Pepsi doesn't let his kids drink Pepsi. All the social media companies are like, I'm not letting my kids on social media. Are you nuts? Like, does Zuckerberg have kids?
I believe
think
so.
so,
Yeah. And he
Okay.
does not let them on social media.
See, makes perfect sense, right? So like, he's like, go join a sport, go fight. That's
pretty
better
sure
for you than fighting on social media.
One of the executives at Johnson & Johnson doesn't allow any plastic in her house.
Wow,
That is weird.
that is crazy. And there's
It's funny because I think the Kardashians also have a rule that they like keep everything in glass containers, but they don't realize that all of the glass containers that you buy are lined with plastic on the inside.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, also a lot of drinks cans, right? Have lining on the inside.
Like this one, which by the way is sparkling water, not an energy drink. Just so everyone is clear on that.
Because people said kidney stone, Cam. They thought
Yeah.
you were gonna get sick from drinking
This is
that.
just seltzer.
Are you all concerned though? These billionaires kind of yoking up. Like Bezos is all yoked up now, and I mean,
What are they preparing for?
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a $20 super chat there from Christmas loving engineer.
Oh, okay. Hi, y'all. I started watching after Aiden from the Lore Lodge came on. Can't catch y'all live often because of work, but your past live streams definitely make the slower hours at work more entertaining.
Yes!
Thank you for watching.
That is my biggest thing here is that because podcasts were always such a huge thing of work for me. Anytime somebody tells me that they listen at work, it's a huge thing for me. So thank you.
Someone said they want to see Tim versus Hassan.
That would be amazing.
I don't
like
think
a
that
fight?
Tim would do a cage match. I don't think he'd be up for that.
Don't think so?
Would he want to?
Like, is there such a I guess there's Creator Clash. Creator Clash is kind of like
Tim
that.
at the Creator
Tim
Clash.
at Creator Clash. Like, or we could get maybe Destiny versus
Ooh,
like who? Destiny.
Vosh. Destiny versus Vosh.
There you
I'd
go.
pay for that.
I mean, like
I'd pay $100 to see that.
just Vosh looking annoying and bored, and he's.
I don't really want to see that. Shirtless. No thanks.
keep the shirt on.
Yeah.
Keep. The
He would
shirt
have
on.
to get in shape.
Then
He's
Mary.
one of those people at the pool. I'm like, put that shirt back on
Yeah.
before you get in.
Yeah.
It's hey man, that'll hurt his feelings. Be careful. They're saying in the chat, they're saying Tim would win. I don't know, man.
Well, Hassan?
Yeah,
Hassan
I
is
guess.
yoked.
Yeah, is he?
Yeah, I don't know if Tim knows martial arts or anything, but Hassan is yoked. I don't.
Gotta get in the ring. Gotta do that. Maybe Phil can fight as his proxy.
Hassan is strong, but I think that he like behaves like a toddler and looks like he doesn't know what to do with his hands.
Yep.
So maybe
Just
if you
because you're
outsmart
strong.
him.
Yeah. Oh, Tim's way smarter. that's a fact.
Gotta study ring psychology, stuff
Yeah.
like that. See, you can solve all these problems by just turning them into professional wrestlers. Then nobody
Yes.
gets hurt. You
Just
get
do
all
that
the story.
INTJ stare
Yeah.
from across the ring.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money if you turn it into like a WWE with all these personalities.
Logan Paul is doing great work
Oh,
in
yeah.
WWE right now. Like it's freaking hilarious. And all those guys are born entertainers, right? Like I've been unfortunately subjected to a bunch of Paul Brothers ads on for the Candy Crush style games that they always hawk. And it's like my number one thing is like I would love to one day you've made it when you get a Raid Shadow Legends ad. So I just want to
One
make
day we'll get it.
and it's like everyone's
know.
like, you got to turn it down. It's cringy. It's like, no, it's freaking hilarious because you don't actually want people to play Raid Shadow Legends, but everyone should. It's like a rite of passage. It's like Raycon headphones. You got to get the Raycon advertisement. So I still think now that I know that Musk is training, I think Musk wins just based on size advantage.
Yeah.
Right there.
But Zuck has a head start. He's been training for years now.
I guess he's younger too. He's got 11 years on him. So
He's a spring chicken.
And obviously Zuckerberg is being run by the CIA anyways, so they're going to back him up. They're going to put something on maybe he'll get like plaster on the gloves to make his
Musk
hands.
is going to go in a sensory deprivation tank for 24 hours before the fight.
He could totally do that. I'm so down for that. All right, let's talk about Travis Scott because Travis Scott has in fact gotten off scot-free from criminal charges related to Astroworld. He will not be charged in any way, shape, or form for the incident in which 9 or 10 people died at that incident.
There was so much weird stuff about that. Not just people getting crowd crushed or trampled, but getting injected with some mysterious fluid by a stranger.
Yeah.
The security guards acting like they were paid off not to intervene. Maybe they were just incompetent, but there were aspects of that felt planned.
Did anything go on in the world during this? Maybe it was a psyop.
It was
Maybe
10 people, by the way, suffocated when the crowd rushed the stage.
Yeah, and he's off touring right now, and he's got a new album coming out very, very shortly. So he a lot of people thought his career was done. It doesn't.
No.
It feels these days like no one's career is ever actually done.
You can get canceled for saying a bad word, but killing people at your concert, you're off scot-free, as you said.
I've heard very different opinions on this from varying people about who's some people think that because he has been known to incite his crowd that they feel that he should be held responsible.
He goes for this satanic panic-esque image like so many people do in the music industry now. So he probably thought it was cool that this happened at his concert, and he repeatedly paused his show but never stopped it to make sure this problem was solved.
Yeah. Yep. $20 one from Dave Gazzuli.
He said Zuck might be fitter, but Musk is built like a 1950s fridge, and you can't just break a 1950s fridge. Also, do y'all have a crisis party bet for the 400 show?
What do we do if for show 400 for a certain amount? They were saying that I should wear all hot pink to the on the show the day we do the Barbie premiere.
That'd be dope.
Somebody would have to find the best hot pink shirt and then allow me to buy it in the right size, I guess.
We also got one from Corey Anderson. Had a dream that Mary and Shoe Head were best friends and started filming their adventures and posting them on the members site. Hello, Osiris. Hope you're having a great day. Shout out to my dog Barley. Keep it real, pup. You just needed to get all thoughts out.
Wait, so would that be Mary on Head or Shoe on Mary then? If you had
Shoe on Head definitely was part of my journey down the alt-right pipeline as I was growing up. it being chronically online in high school.
Yeah, you found your way to Alex Jones quickly.
It would be definitely a full circle moment for me.
Shorthead is great.
A lot of people really like her and find her to be one of the people that acts the most on good faith.
I like her a lot. She blocked me on Twitter though.
Oh.
Shorthead, you can unblock me. There's no
Maybe
beef.
you're on a block list that she
Yep,
like.
those were a big thing.
We had
back
an
in-
interaction, but
Yeah, those
Oh,
were
okay.
those
Wasn't
block
that bad.
lists.
You
were a big
wanna
thing.
you wanna tell us about it?
no, it wasn't. It wasn't. We were
Okay.
debating over some politics. No beef, but I'm a big fan of hers. Yeah.
I've never blocked anyone on Twitter, but I also like I'm the most inoffensive person ever on like it's literally mine's like this movie was great. Like yesterday I said like Dial of Destiny was awful and that's like as spicy as I get on
They're like,
social media.
F you, Nazi,
basically.
Timcast employee.
Yeah, you talk about skating and
Yeah.
staying healthy.
When I put the Timcast logo in my thing, I started getting messages like, "Oh, so you're a alt-right Yahtzee then?" Okay, fantastic. so he's not going to face charges. It's really funny because I was actually going to use a song of his for a skating section, but then realized that a lot of his like out of all the music, like if you put songs that are copyrighted on YouTube, a lot of artists will just take let you keep it up, but then take the revenue, which is fine. Like if you really care about that song and you really feel like it would work for your skating, that's a thing where you cut skating together to a specific song. There's a couple of his that I really liked, and then ended up just deciding against it because he's one of those ones that just they get pulled.
Yep.
Like him and Kanye, unfortunately, which is sad because I really wanted to use Jail Part 2 for a section song. But I don't know if anything will come of this more. There's still obviously going to be civil lawsuits. I think he'll end up paying out hefty on the civil suits. But it feels
sparkling water, guys, if you're wondering.
they still think you're
Still asking.
they're saying Four Loko.
It's not Four Loko.
It would be hilarious to watch you drink a Four Loko on this show.
I don't think I've ever had one.
Your face would grimace every time you took a sip and you'd be drunk really fast. It would be hilarious.
Yeah.
It'd be hilarious. So, I think the civil suits will end up paying out a lot, but I would assume then that Live Nation would end up paying out more because of like, how does the insurance work on these things, right? Like that's where most of it comes out of.
But Travis Scott played this right. I knew he was going to lay low, let it blow over, let it smooth over. I mean, I almost forgot about that this even happened. Yep. So he'll come back. He's a talented guy. Travis Scott came up through hard work, through the underground type, doing shows at small venues. So he has that magic, like you said, about getting the crowd hype. And he always does. I've never been to one of his shows, but I followed it, watched him. And it would always be crazy, almost like a huge mosh pit. And then this one got out of control. So we'll see. The big thing I want to see is what does he do different when he comes back?
You think
got
like
one from
will his
Deuce Boogaloo.
will his shows be more reserved?
Oh, he'll have to.
Yeah.
Oh, it
Said,
will have to be.
Started watching rewatching Parks and Rec, and realized Mary is just right-wing Aubrey Plaza. Also, don't forget for episode 400 that my Crisis Party bet with Mary is still active. 12 of them, and she has to watch and review the first Attack on Titan episodes.
First 5 Attack on Titan episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So
That's a lot.
If you guys want
I
to
forgot about that.
If you guys want to make Mary watch Attack on Titan, you can do that anytime. That doesn't just have to be on episode 400. Also, I'm hoping
it today.
I'm hoping to get
We
a lot
also
of
got one
crisis
from
parties.
Tony Guevara that said, "Ree."
I'm also hoping to get a bunch of crisis parties, guys, because I am going to be out of town next week, so income will drop. We got to keep the lights on because I'm going to be out of town for the first part of next week. I'm going home to visit family
Bon
and see
voyage,
friends.
Brett.
Yes, I know, right?
Support.
Yep. So for one thing about Travis Scott is I kind of put him in the same category as Childish Gambino as far as when I was listening to that sector of rap
I like
music.
them both. Yeah.
Not as much these days, but we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting. I think you're right. I think the shows will end up getting toned down, and they'll be like, "Hey, could you not tell people to rush the stage and commit violent, bloody acts?"
He thinks that he's the Marilyn Manson of our generation.
Yes, of hip hop. Yep.
I mean, in a way, yes, because there's he's one of those people you would call emo rap.
Well, like Childish Gambino in
Yeah.
a lot of ways, and I liked that back then. It had more of an appeal to it than it does to me now.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, Mary, tell us about Jeffree Star.
Jeffree Star is opening an in-person retail store where you can buy all of your yak meat and beauty product needs in the same place.
Wait,
and I'm just thinking this is a gap in the market that's really needed to be filled for a long time. And thank you, Jeffree, for doing us the honor.
Yak makeup.
I wonder who is slaughtering the yaks. Has Jeffree Star personally slaughtered a yak?
What if you had a meet cute at the yak meat and makeup store? Somebody could make a movie about that. Like a boy likes
They
girl.
reach for the same lipstick or the same
Piece of
cut
meat.
of yak.
Yes. Like,
I've never eaten yak. I don't know.
What's the deal with yak meat?
He has a yak farm in Wyoming after leaving LA, doing that like Hollywood exodus type of thing. He homesteads now, smokes weed. He's literally the libertarian meme of like the gay couple with AR-15s on a weed farm.
Let's go.
Like, it's
Like, I'm
literally
here for
that.
it.
But
hey, I got nothing against Jeffree Star.
Yep. Jeffree Star's
I wonder
hilarious.
if he's like too emotionally attached to the yaks and someone else has to kill them for him.
Yeah, that's possible, right? Like he doesn't want to let go.
But he's pretty savage. Maybe he's good at it. I don't know.
He doesn't want to
He's
let
just
go.
a great promoter.
He's not. It doesn't look built for farm life to me.
Yeah.
Who, Jeffree Star?
Yeah.
No.
No.
But you're right, great promoter. Like one
Yeah.
of in the early days where you had to really promote yourself and learn how to run your own business as run your own image as a brand.
Yeah.
Like so there's probably a lot of people who took him as the blueprint for.
I'm
for that.
surprised he didn't go the OnlyFans route like
Yes!
Chapatis did.
Yes!
Thank you. I never get tired of this one.
I know.
I always wonder, like, the people, like, most of the people who watch live watch regularly, so they understand what that is. I always feel bad for the poor people who watch the clips that have never seen the show before, and that goes off sometime. They're like, what the hell is going on, and why does nobody look scared? Like,
It's not
Why are
as
you just
loud.
acting like nothing is
Well,
happening?
it's not as loud in studio than when I hear it on the.
see, guys,
Yeah.
it's not that bad. Everyone makes
No.
me out to be worse than I am. Some of them have obviously been louder than
More
others.
chaotic.
Yeah, like there was a time when I was making them when it was definitely a hellscape.
We should get like a special one for episode 400 though.
I mean, I would love to do that while I'm on my vacation. I'm gonna make it while I'm on my vacation.
I don't know what I should like request from Carter maybe.
Yeah, see if
us
Carter can make
ideas.
something, and then I can put it together when I get back right before the show. So
Yeah,
we could do that. So yeah, I've never had yak meat. Maybe we know what it is.
Is it
He
like
he
beef
is the,
basically?
He is the Joe Rogan of makeup who loves elk meat. So he's like, if Joe Rogan has cornered the market on elk meat, I'm cornering the market on yak meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about Jeffree Star that I like is that he doesn't seem to necessarily conform to what everybody else is thinking. Like he doesn't feel like he has to fit whatever the narrative is that's going on. So there's some courage there that I see.
Yep. I don't know. It's. I mean, obviously, I wasn't the target demographic for anything Jeffree Star made, but I can appreciate the hustle.
Well, he had that clip that went viral that recently. Did you hear that one about the not transing?
Talking about they them pronouns.
Yes, that one. Yeah,
he did like a Barstool podcast talking about they them pronouns are bullshit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I know that that's a contrarian take from one of the mainstream YouTubers, but for everyone else, if you're in real life, we all agree on that. We all know that they're BS. Yep. So I don't feel like it's that adventurous or like courageous of him to say that.
Adventurous.
Yeah. Just common sense, just like reality.
Yeah.
Speaking of reality, let's talk about altered reality. Jaden Smith said that his mom introduced the whole family to psychedelics.
They did
That's
shrooms
crazy.
together.
It doesn't look like they did shrooms together.
I think he did shrooms at too young of an age, and then he was like, how are mirrors real if our eyes aren't real? Now we know why he tweeted that shit.
So, it says...
he was like, I think it was my mom, actually. That was really the first one to make that step for the family. It was just her for a really long time, and then eventually it trickled and evolved, and everybody found it in their own ways.
Doesn't it seem weird to anyone? Like, look, part of the point of doing drugs used to be that you were supposed to be hiding it from your parents, not being introduced to it by your parents.
They ended up finding it in their own ways. Okay, who bought the shrooms for you?
We all worked our way back to the shrooms, says Jaden. He also says, but the level of love and empathy that I can feel for them, he's talking about his family, while inside of the psychedelic experience and outside of the experiences has been something that's been profound and beautiful. That seems very disconnected to me.
Boo.
Like, he's like, I love my family, but I love them so much more when I'm on the shrooms.
You can always tell when somebody has just taken like a brain dementing amount of psychedelic drugs because they're incredibly self-involved but think that they're empaths and they think they found like a secret that nobody else knows about, but really it's just like no, you've irreparably damaged your neural pathways and are kind of schizophrenic at this point.
You should be weary of anyone who calls themselves an empath.
Whether or not it's because of shrooms.
Yes.
Or
But
whatever,
the way the story is told, it sounds like, were they doing it? You said they weren't doing it together? It sounds...
No, like it's
He
'cause
didn't
says
make
they
it
found
clear.
it. Yeah, like,
yeah, that's ambiguous.
yeah.
Like,
So also they mentioned like how they're doing research on it in because MDMA and shroom microdosing is a big thing right now. Like they've all been admitted that the reason that Silicon Valley runs the way it runs is because they're all microdosing. So their brains work different than everybody else's. So, it is what it is. And I've heard good things about the microdosing on that stuff. But as somebody who's living sober now, I can't confirm. I do know that it's never a good. I did mushrooms once and I did acid once, and I had horrible experiences. I've got more fragile brain chemistry, so they weren't positive for me. But depending on who you are, you can have different experiences with them. But you're right. There is a certain point where you've taken so many, or I
feel like you shouldn't test it.
Yeah.
it seems like the Smith family, they share a lot of information with us, don't they? Like they're
Too
not
much.
hesitant. Just maybe a little bit too much information.
You just know that every time Jade is like, let's go film another Red Table Room, he's like, no, please, I don't want to.
Well,
He's like,
thankfully that show is canceled now, right?
yes. Yeah, they got rid of that one. But Will finally maybe gets
Queen
to
of
keep some...
oversharing.
Will
They
gets
are-
to keep some secrets.
They're addicted to attention.
Yeah.
And every time they share, they get attention, negative or positive.
I don't know if Will necessarily feels that way. I think
Yeah.
she feels
He's
that
literally
way.
like, please stop filming me inside my own home.
Yeah, I think for him it's more...
Even when he was on the red table, he looked like a hostage on the red table.
Yeah, like he's just like, can we be done with this?
Yeah.
Like I got stuff to do. He's like, I gotta go to the
Someone's
gym.
behind the camera pointing a gun at him.
Yeah.
Basically, right? It feels that way.
You remember that video though, where I think it was Jada had the camera on Will.
Yep.
And he was like, he was like, I don't want to do it right now. Yeah, it kind of feels
That's
like that.
like he looks like he's like miserable and
Yeah.
you'd rather be anywhere.
What was
but
the
around
question
her.
she was asking him? She was
I
like,
forgot.
please talk about how Red Table Talk has been extremely transformative for our family. And he's like, I don't want to do this right now. Can you
Yeah.
please stop filming me?
And she didn't
Yeah.
stop.
Of course not. She would never do that because she's the
Psycho.
alpha.
Just sick people.
She's and I bring this up a lot, but Mary's too young to remember just how much of a legend Will Smith was in the 90s.
Oh yeah, let me not play. Yeah.
What a cultural icon he was back when he hit his stride. Between Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to just a massive run of popularity in Hollywood after that, in which he was kind of running on high for a very, very long time. It is hard to discount how much of an impact he had on the culture right then. Just remember, he was going to be Neo before Keanu Reeves was Neo.
And I could see it too. Oh yeah, Fresh Prince, DJ Jazzy Jeff, and yeah, he's a legend.
His music
Living
was
legend.
the least impressive thing he ever did, and a lot of people liked him for his music.
Yeah, Joyner Lucas even has a song tribute to Will Smith, and in the song he's like, why do we wait till people die to do a tribute song for him? And he did a tribute song to. It's a great song too.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go. So maybe that's for your birthday. I'll get you a copy of Big Willie Style on CD. That's what I'll get
That'd
you
be
for your
great.
birthday. All right. So she's like, great. Sounds great. Margot Robbie's Barbie film is tracking at over $100 million for an opening, between 80 and 100 million, which is on pace to outdo Oppenheimer, which is. I guess it makes sense because Oppenheimer is rated R, so they're gonna have a harder time filling the seats for that, or at least that's what the speculation for that is.
Oppenheimer gonna get about 40 million.
40
the
to
same
50
weekend.
million. Yep. On the same
Girls
weekend.
win.
Girls rule and boys drool, right? So I just saw a picture yesterday. Margot Robbie posted a picture of her and Greta Gerwig. They went to see Oppenheimer together. They had their tickets. Obviously, it was probably like a famous person showing, right? She's not just showing up at the theater.
They were literally soy facing in front of the poster.
Basically, yeah.
I want to see both movies though.
Dude, I'm going to see both of them on the same.
I'm going to see Oppenheimer, but not as early as you will. I'm gonna have to wait for the weekend.
I'm going to Barbie and then I'm going straight to Oppenheimer.
That is a clash of movies.
Yeah. Like maybe what I'll do is I'll wear like an outfit that's like half suit with bowler hat. And
You're
half,
not gonna cosplay as Ken?
I'm not gonna. I don't have the abs nor the face. I'm not symmetrical enough to be Ken.
I couldn't
so.
see you pretending to be stupid enough to how they're portraying Ken in this movie.
That would be great. I'd go and be like, I was like, can women be Hollywood projectionists? To like the lady running the screening, like, can women be theater ushers? I don't think he's like. I thought only men could be theater ushers. I'll say that to them. So $100 million. Then the real question is, does the movie have the legs it needs to really make a ton of money? Because if these movies each cost $100 million to make, you make $100 million your opening weekend.
A lot of
you're
people
good.
think that if a movie costs $100 million, the only thing you need to do is earn $100,000,001
No.
to make your money back.
They keep about 50% of the box office, which means they need to make at least 200 million, and we're not even including marketing in that budget there.
It
So
will.
they've got they'll make their money back, I'm sure. And really, for Mattel, like, is there really any loss here? Mattel is just going to keep using it to sell Barbie dolls. Warner Brothers, it could go either way. This might actually do very well on streaming down the line. I could see this movie doing fine on streaming services once it comes to those platforms. Like, there's probably plenty of people who will be like, I'm not going to see Barbie. Like, does Barbie need to be seen on a massive screen? Not necessarily. I do think they've made some mistakes with the marketing towards the end here. I think there's been some divisive feminist marketing that theoretically could affect it, but it's probably being paid attention to mostly by people who are terminally online like us.
Yeah.
So it's like, does the average
The
mom...
rest of the world is just seeing like, oh, there's an Airbnb for the Barbie mansion in Malibu.
But it's still,
Like,
it's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, why is it's supposed to be a comedy, a fun movie? Well, like, keep the intro to it fun.
It reeks of celebrities feeling like they need to be more important than they are, to me. Like, not everything has to have a deep, profound message. Sometimes a movie's just a movie, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It does not need to mean more than that. To her credit, I feel like Margot Robbie has been trapped into some of these answers, and for the most part, she would like to leave it as undivisive, as not divisive as possible, but it seems to be being pushed that way against her will.
And it seems like Ryan Gosling doesn't want to do that. Is what I'm getting.
Yeah. They keep asking her leading questions that are like, how is the Barbie movie going to atone for the original sin of Barbie being a white woman with no disabilities?
Yes.
And why can't she come out with some courage and say it's just a comedy? What's wrong with you?
All she has to say is look at this picture and be like, I look like this. It doesn't need to be anything more than this. It's fine. It's fine the way it is. It doesn't need to be anything more than that. So we'll have to see. It really is all about staying power these days. Top Gun Maverick didn't open to huge box office numbers. It did fine, but it made its money because it had minimal drops week to week.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Because I heard people saying they liked it. That's how it kind of spread.
Yep.
Yeah.
My barometer now is like whether my dad goes to see it or not. Like, my dad went to see Joker, and I'm like, really?
That's fun.
Like, okay, like I just like,
It's like I really relate to that character.
well, just like, I mean, my dad's getting up there in age. Like, he's just, you're not going to the theaters very often. It's just not a thing, right? So when he goes to see a movie, you know that the buzz has been heavy around that one. Went and saw Top Gun Maverick, and a lot of people went and saw that. So we'll see. All right, guys. I do want to give an update on ISOM number 2. Let's refresh the monitor here. We are sitting at $1,643,899. That means there have been over 1,166 books donated. That is freaking awesome. And Cover B has gone over 10,000 books sold, and then Cover A has over 9,000 books sold. Cover C has over 3,000 books sold. Very cool to see how well they're doing with this campaign right now.
As you can see, I'm a huge fan of the Rippaverse. Shout out to Eric July. My kids love it. Did you talk about the animated trailer?
Yeah, we showed the short when they did it. It was fantastic.
It was, in leading up to it, Eric July was like, I got something that y'all are going to like when I drop this.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be like a G.I. Joe figurine or something, which would have been great.
Yeah.
But then I saw I saw the trailer and I was like, wait a second. Is this animated?
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, go to rippaverse.com. It's cold.
Yeah, it's really good. They did a really good job. It's as professional as any animation you see these days.
Yep.
It's really, really good. All right, guys. Do we want cute of the day or do we want cringe of the day?
Let me think about this.
You gotta think about it.
Let's do cringe first.
Okay, we'll do cringe first. It's always better to palate cleanse after cringe. All right, first things first. Let's watch this young lady who's at a Taylor Swift concert. How about this?
Harrowing.
She is very happy here, so make sure we get the volume.
I don't know if she is happy.
I'm so happy she's sad. Here we go. I can't actually tell. Is she happy or is she sad?
She's happy.
She's just that happy?
She's happy. The situation is sad.
Yes.
Like,
when I saw that, I was just like, wow, I really walk the same earth as these people.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I kind of get it. Like, I remember the first time I saw Tribe Called Quest and Fugees and stuff like that, but this is a little much.
did you see the dude from the Fugees going to jail
Pros.
for the
we got a
Obama
super chat
administration?
from
stuff?
The Last of My Kind. He said, not much I can talk about, but I was on the first ambulance on scene because Astroworld, that event, Reliant and NRG completely changed their safety and EMS, so it can't happen ever again. Lots of controlled substances involved.
Any type of like festival, there's every year they always talk about it's like they tell you no drugs, they search your bags, and they just find more creative ways to bring the drugs in because you're never going to get rid of that from
creative and
festival.
disgusting ways.
Yeah, like have you ever seen the movie Heavyweights?
No.
The comedy Heavyweights.
No.
Ben Stiller, Fat Camp, kids at they'll never make that movie again. Now a movie about kids at Fat Camp. Holy crap! But where they have all the hiding places for the snacks and the candy and the.
You think they're
the bunks.
sneaking hard drugs into the Taylor Swift Eras tour?
What? Okay, what drugs
is that why she's acting like this?
It's no. You know what it is? If it's
or is
girls,
it just a drug of idol worship?
If it's girls at a Taylor Swift concert, it's birth control and antidepressants.
I don't know. Swifties are probably more well-adjusted than most.
I'm going to go ahead and say you're wrong on that one.
If you think that Taylor Swift's breakup songs are meaningful, you probably haven't gone through much trauma in your life.
Yes.
But trauma's relative,
Girls
right?
who think that their trauma is their boyfriend breaking up with them in high school.
Yeah, but they're going to be, but a lot of her fans aren't that age. They're my age. They're
a lot of the time.
millennials.
But, I mean, if you look at the crowd here, it's Gen Z girls.
The Taylor Swift to antidepressant pipeline is real, ladies and gentlemen. I have no evidence of this, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it's real.
It's interesting she's been able to capture both like the millennials and the Gen Z who were like really young when she was on the come up.
That is a fair point, right? Like usually your art stays within a generation, right? You don't rap doesn't really. Rap transcends generations in a lot of ways.
Only certain people.
But it feels like now it's all an amorphous Borg where it's all part of the same generation. Whereas like there are people that are distinctly part of a previous generation, like you said, like a Tribe Called Quest or a Fugees.
Yeah. Even Jay-Z is kind of old school
now, but he's considered a goat.
Yeah.
Drake, but Drake gets just made fun of a lot though.
Yeah.
So and I like Drake's music.
Well, what's going to happen to a lot of these people is artificial intelligence. Have you seen the artificial intelligence? Like they can use her voice, like Taylor Swift's voice, Drake's voice, and make their own songs.
Yeah.
I've got a soft spot for any and all AI songs done by other artists.
We got one from Mighty Balder. He said, "Brett, you couldn't play Ken because you're much better than that." Brett. Love that. Brett chant.
I'm gonna clip that later and post that on my page. What were you just saying? You're saying that Drake and for a lot of these artists though now it does feel like rap music. It might be more generational than I think, but a lot of times I feel like it crosses over. It crosses over more.
It spills over.
But when it comes to pop artists, they feel like they get broken up into their time period, right? Like who would be Taylor Swift's era? That'd be what, Justin Bieber, One Direction are all from the same time period.
I don't know, when she was like a country artist in like 2007. That was before that.
So she predates Bieber even.
Yeah, that's amazing what she's been able to do. I don't even know how has she been able to do it.
She is 20 years in right now. She's or not 20
years. She's just a psychotically good businesswoman.
Yeah.
And works her ass off.
Yeah.
And works very, very hard. Like I always point out, I was like, she's a Chad. She keeps adding shows and doing more work. She's keeping her people working, whereas Shawn Mendes is being a baby and
Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber.
And they're like, oh my God, my mental health. I need some days off. And she's like, I'll work more. I love to work.
And she's really talented. She writes her own stuff, and
she's a showman on stage. I still make fun of her old videos where she's dancing though. She clearly got some dance lessons at a certain point. You have to. Bieber could dance.
Oh yeah,
Bieber could dance.
Oh, for sure.
All right, we got one more cringe of the day. This is Bill Nye the Riz Guy. Mary found this one, of course, not me. Where was he?
The only mammals that have their breasts presented full time.
What?
That was base. What's going on?
Humans are the only mammals who have their breasts presented full time.
What is cringe about that? That's not cringe. Bill's got the Riz.
Is it working? Or is she just confused?
No, it's not working.
I don't think it's working.
It's working.
Based, it was not effective.
Look,
though.
that was just the first play. He's got more in his He's got more in the belt.
I'm just so confused what the text was here. Like, who is this woman? And
it looks like it's like a Vegas showgirl or something, I guess.
Was this some hooker he hired? Like,
that's the way better story.
It shows
childhood
you that
ruined.
when it comes to like women, even the smartest of guys just turn into like
Yep.
high school kids.
Yep.
Bill Nye is just a
He
mammal
saw
at the end of the
a couple
day.
of knockers and was like, I've got to acknowledge them.
He's
I'm
like,
still a guy."
baby, we ain't nothing but mammals.
Yeah.
No, I remember I had
That song is legendary, by the way.
I had a bioethics class in high school, and I went to a Catholic high school, and it started out with my teacher just saying at the beginning of the class, "Baby, we ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like we do it on the Discovery Channel." And he just repeated it like 3 times, and he was like, "What do you all think that he meant by that?"
Sweat, baby,
I
sweat,
don't know.
baby, sex is...
Police might need to get involved.
Baby, we ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do it on the Discovery Channel.
I encourage everyone to watch the music video for that song. The music video for that song is freaking incredible. It's a fever dream.
Wait, what was the Fever Dream song that Bill Nye made about like anal sex or something?
What?
Like,
What?
Do you remember that?
No, I do
made,
not.
like, this
I do not
just
remember Bill.
awful You don't remember that? It was some weird like sex education song that he did with like, it wasn't Lena Dunham. It was like, you don't remember that?
No, I don't
have
remember
to look this
Bill
up.
Nye's foray into anal
Yeah.
sex.
No,
I
he
don't
did
remember
like
that.
he did like a whole, or at least on his show, he like got someone to do a sex education song.
Have we established that Bill Nye is just a freak? Is that
Yeah.
where we're going
He's
with this
he's
today?
a mammal. He ain't nothing but a mammal. No,
always-
it's literally it's called My Sex Junk by Rachel Bloom on Bill Nye Saves the World. You don't remember that?
No, I do not. No, thank you.
It was horrifying.
I don't need.
It sounds
I don't,
horrifying.
I don't need sex. Plus, didn't he come out and say gender's a spectrum or sex?
This was back in 2017.
Right.
I'm looking at an article called "Butt Stuff, Fleshlights, and Handjobs. Conservatives are outraged over Rachel Bloom's sex song in Netflix's Bill Nye Saves the World."
Okay, so it was at the same time period.
Yeah.
When he was
Yeah.
doing the gender's a spectrum stuff.
One
and
episode called the Sexual Spectrum is decidedly more adult.
There's a great Aiden Paladin video called Bill Nye the Bachelor's Degree Guy. That's a rebuke of his qualifications. I suggest everyone go watch that.
He's not actually a scientist.
Yeah.
Oh, is he not?
He's got a bachelor's degree.
Oh, okay.
But he's not as
He's an
kind
actor.
kind of like in the same way that Dr. Phil is no longer a doctor, right?
You can be a science guy, but not a scientist.
Yeah. All right. Let's do Q to the day. Let's cleanse the palate just a little bit here. First things first, from Carlos. He says at popculture_show at Marion Brett. Please accept the submission for Mowgli, my 5-year-old lab. Mix is bravely losing his struggle with cancer. He will be missed. In this meantime, I am getting good at cooking his favorite liver and catfish. Well, spoil that boy.
Yes.
Well, you
Sorry to
still
hear
got
that.
him.
I
That's-
was just petting Bocus downstairs.
Oh.
He knows, but he's serene.
Yeah.
He's dying with dignity.
we love Bocus. I went.
He was
and-
so cute.
Yes, it's very, very sad. I go give him the pets under here.
Yeah,
he loves
that's
it
what
under
I was
here.
doing.
He loves it under the neck. We love Bocus here.
Sweet
All right,
Bocus.
here's a little bit more of Mowgli. Mowgli is a handsome pooch for sure. Oh, that's a good one right there.
Aw.
That is a good one. All right. Oh, all right. Let's do a couple more here. First, from Deadman says, "Wakey, wakey, Miss Raya.
Aw.
Time to wake up." Oh, that's.
I love black cats where you can't see their mouth, just the eyes.
This is definitely me when I wake up. Like, that's exactly what I look like. Like, I look like I'm processing something horrible when I get up during the day.
I've been wanting a black cat for the longest time.
And then here's from Ultra Gaticus. Says, Opie, Winston Lab Mix versus Callie, Kane Course, WWE Anything Goes. Opie with fantastic execution, no harm done. So it looks like the first one just looks like they're hugging. The second one looks like they were hugging so much he tackled him.
Yeah.
I like it. It's very adorable. All right, and let's do one more here. I love this one because Keenan Smith, a friend of the show, sent this one in. This is Dean Kane's puppy, and he tagged us in
Really?
it. He says, he goes, I nominate this for Cute of the Day. Dean Kane posted this. Said, some mornings are just tougher than usual. Look at that puppy.
I
Looks like
almost thought that the whole seat
was the dog. Yeah, amazing. All right, guys. And if Dean Kane wants to come on the show, I would love to ask him about his time on the show Las Vegas with
Yeah, reach out
with
to
Josh
us.
Duhamel. All right, guys, let's move on. Let's get started, shall we? So let's talk first about Indiana Jones and the crappy Dial of Destiny,
Indiana
starring
Jones and the Dookie Dump of Destiny.
My favorite was Indiana Jones and the Dial of Dysentery.
Yeah.
But Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, starring Harrison Ford, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and Mads Mikkelsen. We went and saw it last night, and you went and saw it today, so we are all read up on this one. I'm going to leave the floor open. Thoughts?
I held this from, we were talking about it before the show. I actually don't think it was that bad.
He's wrong, ladies and gentlemen. It's all pure opinion.
I know,
here.
but
Everyone,
what do you think of a movie when the first thing you say is, well, it wasn't that bad? That
Yeah,
also
like-
means it wasn't that good either.
What
It
does
also
that
means
say
it's
about
not
it?
living up to the prestige of the franchise. And
What
it's
was
an
it that you-
undignified end.
What did you like about it?
I liked the second half of it. I like the beginning. Are we
action
spoiling?
part
Are we
on-
doing spoilers or?
Guys.
I'll stay away from.
No, well,
There's not even anything to spoil.
well,
the
we're
whole
gonna-
thing was just chase scenes.
we are going to
That's
do.
what I was about to say.
We'll do spoilers, guys. We're going to talk spoilers. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was gonna say. It was basically, it was hour in. I'm like, this is the fourth chase scene, but after that, the second half hour, I liked it. And I really liked the ending of it, where they bring, what's it, Marion is her name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring her back in. I like that.
I'm gonna be honest. I was asleep for 80% of this movie. Maybe that's a me problem.
I wish I could have been asleep.
I didn't properly prepare for this by getting a good night's sleep, but it was also incredibly boring. I fell asleep when they were in the middle of the first car chase, and they're in a tiny car, so it's funny, haha.
No, that was
and then it's
unnecessary.
followed up by another car chase scene, and then they're in the water, and there's another chase scene, and I was just in and out for the whole thing.
I have notes, and right in the middle of the notes, it says, I hate this. And then 3 lines down, it says, this is so bad. Look, the number one thing for me is that in a movie that's supposed to be wildly about adventure, you can't use this much CGI. If you watch the originals, as many locations as they're on, there's very, very minimal use of computer-generated imagery, and it makes him look older than he already does, right? When you're putting stuff constantly behind a
The
green screen.
de-aging part was unpleasant.
The de-aging looked fine, sounded horrible to me. He sounded 80
Well, it
years
sounded
old.
like it was all like spliced in after the fact.
And the train CGI was very, very bad on top of it. Also, I'm very, very sick of top of train shots. That's not how that works. You would fall off the train so much
well,
earlier.
I'm willing to suspend
nitpicking that,
disbelief
yeah.
on that. What I'm not willing to suspend disbelief on is Mads Mikkelsen's character
He was the one-
dying on top of the train.
Yeah.
He got smacked in the head at like 120 miles per hour and somehow lived through that. But there was no explanation like, oh, he used time travel to like save his life or something cool like that. It was just, he's inexplicably here still,
was the
and he
explanation
still
for
looks
that?
younger than Harrison Ford.
There was no explanation for it.
Yeah,
There's no
that-
explanation.
I will say that Mads Mikkelsen was the one highlight of this movie for me. He is always reliable in his role. So if you say, Mads Mikkelsen, I need you to play evil Nazi guy,
You said he
says,
had
perfect.
He goes,
he
good.
had the emo hair.
He
He
does.
were like,
Yeah.
tonight
Tonight
will
will-
be the night that I will fall for you.
Yep, that's he looked like emo Nazi scientist.
Emo Nazi.
And look, I was not a fan of the magic versus science debate coming from Hollywood in the year 2023. I felt that they used the word Nazi a comical amount of times that just felt like you were listening to a Hollywood writer write this dialogue.
I don't know. I asked Wesley what he thought of that after, and he said, I think they said the word Nazi about the same amount in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Even if that's true, it's coming at a time
context.
period where it's different now. First of all, it's going on during the space race, right? So wouldn't they be just as worried about commies as they would be about Nazis
Does
anyways?
feel too preoccupied with the present day. For me.
Yes, it does. And look, I will say that my real complaint here is Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Look, this is a role that should be played by someone that's, for exotic locations, it should be played by somebody suitably exotic that looks like she fits the franchise. I don't like it.
I don't like Phoebe Waller-Bridge and her weird mole on her forehead.
Look, listen, she degrades she puts down Harrison Ford. She's overly confident without having earned any of the confidence that she portrays. She shoves in lines about capitalism. She talks about being strong and self-sufficient in the middle of a car chase, which makes literally.
She was like, Oh, my father would have a problem with me being beautiful and self-sufficient.
Something like that in the middle of a car chase. Nobody takes the time to say something like that.
They did that quite a few times. They're climbing on the wall.
The men are just falling all over her.
No man falls all over themselves for a woman that looks like that.
They're like, Brett, LOL, base day.
Look.
Listen, I was listening to Brett go off about Phoebe Waller-Bridge in an incredibly hilarious way for hours this morning.
Look, she's not attractive, and you do not get to have that level of confidence if you're that ugly. I'm sorry. That's my personal opinion.
A $20 from Wayward Soul. He said, I have a library of cute pics from my furry kitty Nubs, who has been with Jesus since December 2021. My song Tennyson is about her. She was my little BFF, and I miss her every day. She would have loved the attention from... Wait, what is this? Cute of the day. Oh, R.I.P. Yes, R.I.P. Nubs.
The CGI in the movie made it feel soulless to me. That's a big part of it. Is like everything doesn't look like you're on location. It looks like you're on a soundstage, and that takes you out of the moment for me.
Yeah, it loses its charm. You go back to watch 81 was the original, and it hits you in your face where it's like, wow, this looks so much more authentic.
Yeah.
I think we were just supposed to like soy face about this girl boss moment where Phoebe Waller-Bridge is looking at Mads Mikkelsen hanging out of a plane, and she's like, sorry, you're a Nazi.
That's exactly what you were talking about, Brett.
That line was ridiculously stupid.
The way she said it, you knew what the context was.
Yeah.
But my thing, going into this movie, the problem I have is, it's like Disney, these movies are supposed to bring people together regardless of your politics or social, and they put in the trailer the capitalist line. So it'd be like advertising a football game.
And they know what they're doing.
And talking about capitalism. Wait, it's a football game. It's a movie. Why would you even pick that? That was actually a really cool scene where they were like, you stole it. No, I stole it. You stole it. But then they conflate that with capitalism on purpose. It's almost like the movie's to bring everybody together, but they want to jab you and keep you away. Like, well, not everybody together. You've got to believe this, or you're going to get this taste of this stupid capitalism coming from what, Disney? I'm going to be lectured about capitalism and they're not even right on it?
Right.
From a lady who's designed to be unlikable. There's not an ounce of this character that you wanted. All they had to do was have her and Harrison Ford actually connect the way they did at the beginning of the scene when she's talking to him, when he calls her Wombat for the first time, and he realizes that he knows her previously. Or they could do the smart thing to do and just not use her at all. Use the CIA chick that they end up shooting on the plane.
I mean, even the CAA chick was kind of severe and
she was
unlikable.
terrible.
I wouldn't have liked that any better than having Phoebe Waller-Bridge as that sidekick character, but she wasn't really the sidekick. She was there to steal the show from Harrison Ford and also constantly emasculate his character, which reminds me of this tweet, which I saw from you replying to this morning. This tweet says, I honestly didn't think she could pull it off. I didn't think Bob Iger would let her, but here we are 10 years later and she's done it. Kathleen Kennedy has replaced every one of George Lucas's white male protagonists with a brunette woman just like her. And it's definitely giving like a Rey and Luke vibe.
All of it just didn't work for me. I'm actually having trouble.
From Unusable Alpaca. Brett, have you seen Warrior on HBO Max? Season 3 just dropped, but I'm only on season 1 and a few eps in. It's great. It's set in the 1850s San Francisco with Chinese immigrants as rival clans. Think The Sopranos meets The Badlands.
I haven't seen. I loved Into the Badlands. Is he talking about Into the Badlands? If he's talking Into the Badlands, I love that show. So I will have to check it out. Look, she lectures Indiana Jones. She's constantly got to get one up on him. If they were able to nail the relationship between her character and his character, this movie could have gotten a lot farther, but it felt soulless and empty to me.
They did have some good moments. I know
at the end, but that's like they didn't need to do that. Like they're inserting conflict where there doesn't need to be any because there's already conflict between the other characters. And then what they're supposed to just resolve it by the end. It didn't feel real. It didn't feel natural to me. The way that she got attached to him by the end is somebody who's reached the age that she's reached and become the person that she's become really going to change that much because of one incident like this. I don't know. I will say one thing I did like, other than Mads Mikkelsen's character, I do think that Mads did a fantastic job with the material that he was given. Thank you. Was all the stuff in the cave.
Yes. Party time.
All the stuff in the cave where they're discussing Archimedes' theory and the water displacement.
It felt
I
like
love
old
that. That
Indiana
felt like
Jones.
old Indiana Jones. I love that.
They should have had more of that kind of stuff instead of they had 4 or 5 chase
They
scenes.
didn't need all the damn chases.
They did not need all. I know Indiana Jones is known for their chase scenes. Just have one.
Yeah.
That's
He's
fine.
too old to do it to make it believable
gosh.
now.
I had to tell. That kind of hurt the immersion.
Yeah.
Like seeing Harrison Ford actually punching people at 80 years old is just, it's just stupid. I mean,
This is the pacing problem that I hate in most new movies now. Is just the constant movement that's just staccato of now this happening, now this is happening, and you have ADHD, so we have to keep you entertained, and it's doing the opposite. It's disengaging me.
There's a $20 super chat from Wayward Soul. Did we miss that one?
I don't think so.
Up top. Okay, we got that one. All right, just making sure.
but I'm surprised at the chat.
Yeah.
93. See, this is to me almost the bigger story than the movie.
Yeah.
Is the anticipation. 93% of the people in the chat say they don't want to see it.
Yeah, it's because
That's
it reeks.
crazy.
It reeks of Kathleen.
I'm not
Kennedy.
blaming the chat.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying how they advertise it. Nobody trusts. We don't even trust the studios. That's really crazy.
One of these reviews said Raiders of the Lost IP.
It didn't work for me. Part of it is also seeing Harrison Ford young and then old again.
That hurt.
I didn't need to see it.
It could have been. I almost think about, how they had Bruce Wayne old in the Batman Beyond stuff.
Yeah.
They could have had Harrison Ford more on the seat of his couch or something like that.
Yeah.
Then have the younger scenes and then mix it in instead of having him in the action.
Yeah.
Maybe. But what would you have done to it to make it? Because what do you do to a franchise like this?
You don't do it. You just don't. You don't make another one.
Could you do an Offspring?
No, Young Indie's already a thing, and people can watch that show on Disney Plus right now if they want to watch Young Indie. If they wanted to make this movie work, you get rid of Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character, or you rewrite her character and you make her more amenable. And you, look, this is not Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Here's the number one comparison. There is a benchmark now for bringing a character back after a certain period of time, treating the character with dignity and treating the character with respect. This is not that. What I'm saying for it is, when I was trying to explain to somebody what it was that I didn't like about this movie, and I'm having a hard time doing it now. I'm not even doing a good job of explaining what I didn't like about it. It doesn't go forth with actual love for the character. There isn't an ounce of joy in this movie. There is nothing but a bunch of soulless CEOs, corporate executives harvesting the organs of a franchise that once made tons of money. And then what you get in return for your organs are manufactured moments of emotional connection at the end with Marianne. That's all you get. And it doesn't resonate. It doesn't land. And to me, if they had done more, getting rid of the chase scenes, limit it to 1 or 2. That way you don't have to have 90% of the movie take place at night, which is what you do when you don't have the budget to make your CGI work really well, and do more of the practical stuff, like the actual stuff in the caves.
That's what Indiana Jones is about. It's really more of that stuff. That's how Raiders of the Lost Ark started.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think if that's exactly how, even though I didn't think it was that bad, if you're an Indiana Jones fan, I think other than the capitalist line, you'll probably say it's okay.
One thing that didn't make sense was at the beginning where they show him in this dead-end teaching job, and he's miserable. He's a shadow of his former self. But it would have made more sense if they showed him in a high, tenured, prestigious position, where he's comfortable where he's at and needs to be convinced to go back,
That would have made way more sense. Why was he miserable?
Was it because he's divorced?
We found out
he's
his
divorced.
son died.
His son died. He's divorced. Look, that rings true. Why do you have to do that? Why does everything have to involve these male characters being depressed relics of a former time?
I agree.
And then by the end of the movie, I'm not really convinced that he has recovered.
Well, the ending had a good ending to it, though. But you're right.
Yeah.
Even that it felt
forced.
studio note. It felt like, look, the original reporting from Overlord DVD says that this was supposed to end with Indiana Jones dying and then her taking his hat.
That's what
that's what they said was going to happen. This reeks of the ending that they have feels like it was done in like 10 seconds, and that was the actual ending. And what you got was the one that they changed just to keep people from rioting, because they know that people aren't going to accept what happened to Han and Luke anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work. It doesn't go forward with love for the original characters. I cannot stress enough how much respect for what came before you matters in a franchise like this. It's not like Top Gun Maverick rewrote some type of amazing playbook. It just didn't treat Tom Cruise like a weenie.
Yep.
Is that so much to ask for?
If these corporations were serious about doing these type of projects, all you would have to do is crowdsource this. Have a contest, somebody write a script for this, and I guarantee you could find 100 people who are passionate about Indiana Jones that could write a better movie than what they came up with.
We've got one from BMF Nate Dogg. I haven't seen a movie in theaters since the first Sonic movie. Nothing looks appealing anymore. Maybe it's because the greats like Will Smith passed away. It's a sad thing. Well, they didn't pass away. They're just emasculated.
Will Smith passed away.
They're just emasculated cucks now, which is what they did to Indiana Jones.
I will say that if you like Mads Mikkelsen and you don't mind hearing the word Nazi 973 times in a movie, look, I guess that is like a lot of it rings and reeks of modernism, right? It's just like, look, back in the day, you could at least act on faith that they weren't just implementing the word Nazi, because you know what it is when they say it? They're scared of going and showing the other extreme. You're never going to see them make the same movie about Stalin. They're never going to make the same movie about Lenin. You're never going to see that. And if they did that just once, you might be willing to give Hollywood more of the benefit of the doubt. I do understand that this is the criticism of somebody who is terminally involved in looking into this stuff. And I will also say that people were asking me, they're like, well, do you think that Rotten Tomatoes score was inflated? No, I don't. Because the people in the theater seemed to like it just fine. The people that were in our theater they laughed at parts.
Laughing.
They cheered. There was some
At
claps.
things that were not funny.
They cheered at the end, and that's fine. Like, look, if you love it, you love it. That's fine. This one just didn't appeal to me. Normally, I'm the one who gives everything a more lenient grade than everything else. But the biggest way to ruin something for me is entitled snark. And her character was entitled snark for the first 45 to 50 minutes of the movie. And if you leave a bad taste in someone's mouth that early, you can't then ask them to necessarily turn it around. Is it possible that if I was forced to rewatch this, I might come away with a better interpretation now that I've been kind of subjected to the snark and it's gotten over with? Maybe. But I will say right now, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is not the woman that's going to have some random dude chasing her down, begging for her hand in marriage. It's not believable. She does not look like an action star. You should have hired a woman who was every bit as gorgeous and exotic as the scenes you pretended to go on set instead of just using in CGI. Everything that you did in this movie felt false. It felt fake. It didn't work. My personal opinion.
Yeah, and I'm going to go back to the capitalist line again.
Yeah.
I think this does affect. What is Disney on their movies? Are they underwater almost $1 billion this year already?
Yeah, it was like $900 million.
Are you
like they're saying that they're like $900 million out from what the stuff they've made.
From the movies?
Under the water, yeah.
That's insane. And so to me, I think these things matter, these capitalists. And to me, what irks me about that line, it's like one little second, but it really irks me. They don't have the courage to say what they really want to say because they wouldn't talk about what they're really trying to do is say white males.
Yeah.
In that I took it, you took it's really they're trying to say white people. But then they use the word capitalism. That's why it's so weird. It's like, that's not capitalism. Free market is actually trading when you give. And then the irony on top of that is Disney's underwater almost $1 billion this year on their movies. It's because they're not practicing the free market. They're not giving consumers what they want.
Yep.
So it's just it takes you right out of the immersion of the film.
Yep. It didn't work for me. Look, I understand that other people will like it. I found Phoebe Waller-Bridge very annoying, and this is why I want to talk about this a little bit. She is going to be put in charge.
Before you start, Stefan Shanoff said Blade Runner 2049 was another benchmark of reviving franchises with the passage of time. Heck, it was a Ford movie as well.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's just go to Super Chats.
Oh, okay. Destiny 2 Gamer said, how about playing air guitar for every crisis party?
Somebody could do that.
Yeah. We need a Wayne's World one.
We've done a Wayne's World one.
We have? Okay.
We've done a Wayne's World one.
Kizzy said, Mary, my daughter, 15 years old, says you're short and tiny. I said, no, she's like 5'11". Look at the seat. She said, you're sitting on something. Who's right? I'm 5'1". I don't know if that's considered tiny, but I'm not sitting on a phone book. We just we deceptively changed my angle to make me look taller. Perturbed Alpaca said that screaming fan is a girl.
That was a girl.
Yes. The state of modern women,
where did we go all the way to where did we leave off? Did we get Disco Jensen up at the top?
Oh, sorry. He said, happy Friday. Brett, would you and the PCC crew consider covering gaming topics and news occasionally? Things like influence, people, and scandals.
Look, you have to be very deep into gaming culture to really talk about that, extensively, which is not this. We have our own niche here. I think that there's going to be, there could actually be stuff down the line that would cover it more thoroughly. But for now, I don't think that's really going to be something that we're going to do. I do actually want to talk a little bit quickly about video games, at least video games adjacent, because Phoebe Waller-Bridge is going to be in charge of the Tomb Raider series at Amazon Prime. Let the feminism flow through you, because that's what's going to end up happening here. Make no mistake.
She's the feminism consultant.
Make no mistake about it. Fun is about to exit the room when it comes to stuff like this. So, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny's Phoebe Waller-Bridge recently talked about how she views Lara Croft and how they may impact her upcoming Tomb Raider TV series. Again, that will be an Amazon Prime series. Here's her quote. She says, Lara Croft has an attitude, Waller-Bridge told Vanity Fair. She was deliberate in what she wanted to do. That all changed when they realized that you could market her as a sex symbol.
How are those two things in conflict or mutually exclusive?
That is the problem here, because to people like this, beauty, sexuality, anything that appeals to men runs completely contrary to agency, self-reliance, or being a good character. They feel that to be great, to be a great character, you must suffer and be ugly. That is what she believes.
Very concerned about Lara Croft's boobs. She said a key element
I'm concerned as well.
of Waller-Bridge's concern is just that. She had been in conversations in the writer's room about the kind of body their Lara Croft should have in the upcoming show. Quote, she's a Tomb Raider. She has to squeeze through tiny rock crevices all the time.
That is a monster.
It's a different experience squeezing through a small rock crevice when you have larger boobs than if you have smaller boobs. This is really important stuff.
She's always made it work. It's never been a problem.
I don't get it, because it seems like Angelina Jolie doesn't have like gargantuan G cups.
Angelina
it's not
Jolie,
some kind of anime portrayal.
In the Tomb Raider movie, Angelina Jolie is a C cup that they
has very normal looking boobs
that they padded to a D cup, and they said that in the bonus features and then they shrunk them in the sequel because of feminists complaining.
I'm perfectly fine with how they were when they were puffed up. What are we doing right now?
I'm sure Angelina Jolie was fine with it too.
Actually no, she kind of did hold the criticism to the sequel that maybe it was a bit too over the top, right? Look, you're not allowed.
It's a fantasy. It's not real.
Exactly. It's that's the problem, right? You're not allowed to have your traditional male fantasy anymore. Now, all things that you love, everything that mattered to you as a kid, everything that was fun, whimsical, got you out of your head, now has to be taken, twisted, and manipulated by people who have strong feminist writings and strong feminist leanings. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is not going to join the show with the expressed desire to make it great for fans, not the fans that originally made it popular. She's going to do it for the phantom audience of new fans that these studios are constantly seeking out.
Yeah, aren't most of the fans male for this?
I'm talking specifically, like, for me.
To them, that doesn't matter.
Like, and again, I'm not talking about the game even. I'm talking about the movie. Like, there's plenty of people that don't care, that won't care about the games, that will go see it because they saw the movie and they played the game when they were a kid, but didn't keep up with the game series afterwards. Doesn't matter. And look, that line really was what bothered me. It was the squeezing through a rock thing is just a college-educated woman's way of getting out of.
She's like, well, actually,
yes.
I also didn't know this, but she was essentially a feminism consultant for James Bond, No Time to Die.
Which I will give her credit. That movie wasn't as awful as it could have been.
She said they were just looking for tweaks across a few of the characters and a few of the storylines. However, she insists she was told not to change the culture of the films after questions have been raised in recent years about the misogynistic and domineering way James Bond has traditionally treated women. She said they were already doing that themselves. They're having that conversation with themselves the whole time. Her involvement was much more practical. Just, you're a writer, we need some help with these scenes, and you come up with some dialogue for these characters. But she said that they spent time discussing the script, that basically she was entrusted to take care of the women on screen, as Lashana Lynch said.
What was her position again?
She was a scriptwriter, but essentially more of a feminism consultant for the movie.
And we're wondering why they can't make money.
Yeah. Well, also we talked recently about, I don't know if
she said it's pretty obvious there's an evolution in the fact that Lashana Lynch is one of the main characters in the film and wears the pants, literally.
See, that's what they're making these movies for. That's a made up position. Yep. And now you look at your underwater for the year, and how many made up positions do they have like this?
And to me, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to these things, Phoebe Waller-Bridge did Fleabag. People love Fleabag. She can do great work. This is not the work for her, in my opinion. She should be out make the avant-garde stuff that you clearly probably want to make. The problem is, they have to choose. Do you want to make the avant-garde stuff that actually speaks to your beliefs? Or do you want to make the mainstream stuff that actually can influence culture? Well, they get to do both. They get to take the mainstream stuff that people love and twist it to be something that it wasn't in the name of what they believe, so that they can have all of the clout that comes from stuff that once appealed to everyone, but use it with a story that doesn't appeal to anyone. And that's stupid.
It makes her more money to take big franchises like James Bond or Indiana Jones and twist them like that than work on indie films.
Yeah.
So it's a double bonus for her. She gets more money and more clout off of it and gets to push her social agenda.
It just doesn't work. Like I said, she should make more stuff like Fleabag and do that. I think that would work better. If I were her, I would stick to that. But also,
stick to behind the camera work, sweetie.
Look, she can do whatever she wants.
They deceptively hid her mole.
That's not even that. I don't even think that she's not. I don't think there's a problem with her acting. I just don't think that she's meant for a role like an Indiana Jones. I think that she should be in more avant-garde fare,
play the Manic Pixie Dream Girl's ugly friend.
Look, I was going off
play
and
play a 2x4 at Home Depot.
See, that's my problem with you playing that clip. It's not that you played the clip; it's that the funny stuff actually happened earlier. By the time you caught it, I was just angry and annoyed. Also, Ava Green is just the prettier version of her, so just hire Ava Green.
Kristen Stewart is just the prettier version of Ava Green.
Ava Green is beautiful, so I guess it is. There's something to me that's offensive about putting that type of snark in a movie when you should be going for more than that with something like a Harrison Ford in an Indiana Jones. You shouldn't be reaching for snark. You should be reaching for some level of beauty and love for the franchise like they did with Top Gun Maverick. I don't need the snark in there. And I just think that was a miscalculation on their part to focus on that.
Yeah, I think their thought was the end was going to make up for the whole movie not living up to that.
But it just, like I said, it felt rushed to me.
It was rushed because you didn't have any transition to it. You're like, wow.
Yeah, it just felt rough to me, rushed to me. So I don't know. Is there anything that you think that she could do to make a Tomb Raider movie work?
I'm not a Tomb Raider fan, so I don't know. But
All right.
Listen to the fans. That's what I would say.
Well, yeah, like bring on
have a
consultants
wild
from people
idea.
that actually love the product,
Yeah.
right? So that's not that hard. All right, let's go to super chats. Let's do a couple
We have
there.
some more. It's over 9,000 said, Brett, you should go to a Twins game while you're home.
Maybe. I don't know if I'll have the time.
They have a great ballpark out there.
Yes. Oh yeah. Like especially after because they built that after the Metrodome.
It's really nice.
Deuce Boogaloo said Alex Jones versus Cenk Uyghur. Or is it Uyghur?
Oh, well, they actually threw they were going to throw hands in that old.
Chunk Yogurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you say his last name?
Now
Now that I
Uyghur.
realized, I don't know how
Yeah,
to say
it's
it.
just Uger, I think.
Destiny 2 Gamer. Oh, sorry, not that one. Kizzy said. Wait, what was the next one? Perturbed Alpaca?
Yeah, it's a mess all over
Oh,
the
sorry.
place here.
Guitarist Gabe said, my sister-in-law, along with the girls around her, definitely dropped acid at both showings of the Swift concert. And yes, they're all on antidepressants. Swifties go hard, apparently. I don't know if you should mix SSRIs with acid.
Yeah.
Sounds like a dangerous combo.
Yeah.
Corey Anderson said, you do not need a degree to be a scientist. Is this true?
Well, technically, yes. If you're employing the scientific method,
If you're
that's true.
Archimedes.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
See,
I think Indiana
That's a good
Jones
point.
wanted to stay in ancient Greece so he could find a towel boy and just have butt sex for the rest of his life.
Who said that? Is that the chat or you?
I said that.
Look, like I said, if they had done more stuff in that movie with them,
What do you think about when they went back? I thought it was kind of cool. It was
time?
disjointed, but because it was like so quick. But what do you think about the time when they went back in time?
like they should have spent more time
Yeah.
in the past?
Yeah,
maybe
a little bit
like,
more.
and also, I don't know if it really like I don't want him to want to stay there.
Yeah,
like
that-
I don't
I
want
agree.
him to give up.
Yep.
And have like her have to punch him in the face
Yep.
to stop him from giving up.
It wasn't totally clear how they got back to the present day, though.
They just skipped to it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she knocks him
Lights
out.
out and
Well, no,
then
they
they're
say
back.
the windows closing on the
Yeah, they
rip
got
in the,
back in the plane
space time.
and- yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The last of my kind said, happy birthday to my dog Sundance. She's 9 now. Cute of the day picks coming soon. Ladybird, my pit mix, will be 5 in July.
Awesome.
Nice.
Lucius the Eternal said, Phoebe needs to F off. She's ugly and annoying.
I don't think she's
Brett
as ugly as you guys
agrees.
are saying.
I
was saying
She
that
was-
too. We were arguing about this
Oh,
because
yeah.
I was like pulling up pictures of Phoebe Waller-Bridge
Yeah.
and being like, "Look, Brett, like she's not that bad."
What it was-
and he was
yeah.
like, "No, she's fugly."
It's the
Look at the way she laughs. She like she bares her teeth and then like flares her nostrils like she's trying not to snort.
it was look. It's the snark.
Yeah, I agree.
It's that personality type that like it just rubs me the wrong way.
She-
So I will admit that I was speaking out of turn and being rude. But when
who
when you
cares?
watch somebody disrespect a character like that and be that snarky, like it's just annoying, right?
And I think it could have worked if they would have they had that one line where he was saying something like, somebody doesn't remember their dead dad's books if it's just for money.
Yeah.
If they would have had more with him checking her, I think it would have worked, like saying, hey, why are you acting like this? They had a little bit of it, but they needed more of that.
yeah, like it just didn't work for
You
me.
were like, before we went to the movie, you were like, I hope that Phoebe Waller-Bridge pegs Harrison Ford. Unusable Alpaca said Bill Nye is an engineer, not a scientist. It's controversial.
All right, let's hold off on the rest. We'll come back.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Dylan Mulvaney. Dylan Mulvaney has spoken out now because Dylan Mulvaney is upset that Bud Light did not stand by Dylan Mulvaney.
That's crazy. So you were sponsored by a mega corporation because of your trans identity, and they didn't care about you as a person, as an individual.
Weird that like
That's wild to me.
it feels like back in the day you would have just understood that a corporation isn't going to care. Like it's just not a corporation's job to care.
Well, that I don't understand how you could fall for the lie of Pride Month, which is that all of these mega corporations care about you anyway.
Yeah, they don't care about you, nor should you expect them to.
Let's watch the video before we go further.
Okay, here we go. Wait for it, and here we go.
Hi.
Hi.
One thing I will not tolerate people saying about me is that I don't like beer, because I love beer and I
Because
always
you're
have.
male.
Sure you do.
I built my platform on being honest with you, and what I'm about to tell you might sound like old news, but you know that feeling when you have something uncomfy like sitting on your chest?
Yeah, like
Well,
boobs,
that's
which you don't
how
have.
I feel right now. So this feels like the right thing to do. I took a brand deal with a company that I loved, and I posted a
Okay, I don't know if I'd buy that anybody has that strong of feelings about a beer company as like a mega corporation beer company before.
Dylan Mulvaney's
sponsored
just
video to
secretly a frat guy.
I kind of like, it's funnier if that's true, if like Dylan Mulvaney just crushes beer cans on his head every night. Like I'm actually
Shotguns them at frat parties.
I'm down for that, you know.
And it must have been a slow news week because the way that this ad got blown up, you would have thought I was like on a billboard or on a TV commercial or something major. But no, it was just an Instagram video. And the wildest part is that they also sent me one can with my face on it. You might have seen it. And funny story, I had the can around my house, but then I realized, wait, I need to protect this can. So I hid it somewhere. And now I can't find it because I hid it so well. But when I do
so
find
funny.
it, I
You're
feel
so
like it needs to
quirky.
go in a museum, preferably behind bulletproof glass. And you might be thinking, Dylan, why bring it up now? I'm bringing it up because what transpired from that video was more bullying and transphobia than I could have ever imagined. And I should have made this video months ago, but I didn't. And I was scared, and I was scared of more backlash, and I felt personally guilty for what transpired. So I patiently waited for things to get better.
No,
But
you
surprise,
didn't. You said that it should
they
be
haven't
illegal
really.
to misgender you.
And I was waiting for the brand to reach out to me, but they never did. And for months now, I've been scared to leave my house. I have been ridiculed in public. I've been followed. And I have felt a loneliness that I wouldn't wish on anyone. And I'm not telling you this because I want your pity. I am telling you this because if this is my experience from a very privileged perspective, know that it is much, much worse for other trans people. For a company to hire a trans person and then not publicly stand by them is worse, in my opinion, than not hiring a trans person at all. Because it gives customers permission to be as transphobic and hateful as they want. And the hate doesn't end with me. It has serious and grave consequences for the rest of our community. And you know, we're customers too. I know a lot of trans and queer people who love beer. And I have some lesbian friends who could drink some of those haters under the table. But to turn a blind eye and pretend everything is okay, it just isn't an option right now. And you might say, but Dylan, I don't want to get political. Babe, supporting trans people, it shouldn't be political. There should be nothing controversial or divisive about working with us. And I know it's possible because I've worked with some fantastic companies who care, but caring about the LGBTQ plus community requires a lot more than just a donation somewhere during Pride Month. And all this to say, bottom line is that if you follow me, if I've made you smile, if you care about me, I need you to care about every trans person. And I need you to support us, and I need you to stand by us. And hey, it's still Pride Month, so
it's almost over.
I'm gonna celebrate being alive, and I'm gonna celebrate the trans people in my life and the ones I haven't met yet. And I'm going to celebrate the fact that no matter how many thousands of horrible messages, or news anchors misgendering me, or companies going silent, that I can look in the mirror and see the woman that I am and that I love being. And I know you were probably here for the tea of it all, but I would love for something productive to come from this. So there is a link in my bio to the Trans Law Center, who is doing some wonderful work if you have the means to donate. And to the good people out there, I love ya. I really do. And cheers, but only if you're of legal drinking age. Okay, ooh. I love you.
I at least gave the disclaimer at the end.
There was a lot. That was
Long.
Well, that was a very well crafted statement, though. You see everything that was covered in there. He covered the underage drinking stuff that came with it. Like, it was almost like a statement from a politician, but written for an actor.
I just find it funny that Dylan Mulvaney expected Bud Light to, like, I don't know, hire a therapist for him after getting backlash, when this is a soulless mega corporation that only hired you because you're trendy and your identity is trendy. And it's not because you have a following. Like, Dylan Mulvaney would have never had a following had he not capitalized on being trans. So like, I don't know, like to pretend that this is just like hiring any other influencer is insane. Even their marketing executive admitted that they did it to spite this customer base that they believe is like politically incorrect frat guys.
Yeah.
Robbie Starbuck had a great tweet on this. If I could read from Robbie Starbuck. Dylan Mulvaney made this video because the left realizes that Bud Light is a dying brand, so now they'll pretend to boycott Bud Light too in order to claim that the continued drop in sales is due to them, not how unpopular their trans pride push is. I really think there's something to that. She said it. He said it a couple times in that statement. Bud Light didn't reach out to me. They let me down type of stuff. Basically, to me, it's a way to co-opt what's happening from people who aren't happy.
Mm. I mean, I don't know what you expect. It's not the corporation's job to hold your hand. You've gotten famous on a very controversial issue. You can debate all day whether it should be controversial or not. Everybody you talk to is going to have a different opinion on whether it should be controversial or not. But the fact of the matter is that it is controversial. And with that, with the money you're going to make by being a controversial figure, you are also going to have to accept the negatives that come with that. Maybe that's not the greatest thing. That doesn't say the greatest thing about our society, but it's the truth. And what I've found is that a lot of people in these situations, they don't learn to accept the world as it is. They then just try to change the world and make it what they think it should be. And that's not always plausible.
Thank you.
If I could add to that, Sarah Higdon has come through here. Do you know Sarah Higdon?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And it is possible for a trans person like Dylan to be in that position and say, look, y'all, they gave me some beer. I don't hate you no matter what your politics are. If you misgender me or not, I have no beef with you. Sorry I pissed you off. You know, it's possible for somebody to say something like that. Right. And it's almost like we can't even acknowledge that. I brought up Sarah Higdon because that, to me, that's the vibe I got from her. And for me, the misgendering stuff, for me, it's, do I respect you or not?
Yeah.
So somebody like Sarah Higdon, whatever she wants to be called, I'm calling her because she respects me. I respect her. And you saw that they talked, Dylan talked about the bullying. They're going down the stochastic terrorism route, kind of blaming Bud Light for causing this on me type of stuff. So it's a lot. There was a lot to unpack in that.
What else?
I gotta say, I disagree with your polemic on whether you're gonna misgender somebody. I don't even agree with the use of that word because I think like misgendering is an abuse of language. But I'm not going to participate in someone's lie, whether I like them or not. If it's like a matter of censorship, that's different. But most of the comments here were negative, thankfully. People have not, gone totally insane. One person said, how can you be honest with everyone if you can't be honest with yourself? Another one said, I'm a lesbian and I don't understand why this gay man thinks he's a woman. Another one said, dude, of course you love beer. You're a man playing dress up. It's all good. Another one said, you act like women are these ditzy people who run around like little girls all the time when you in no way embody a woman or anything for what they are. There's so much more to being a woman than dressing up in designer clothes and doing your makeup and going out on the town. And biological women understand that and know because it's the truth. If that's all you want to do, then don't call yourself a girl or a woman. And also, Dylan Mulvaney was doing the same thing that Bud Light was doing, which is laying low until the controversy blows over. But the comeback video was literally, it should be illegal to misgender me if you're a journalist who's using my, other than my preferred pronouns, you should be censored. That in itself is antagonistic.
Oh yeah, she's talking about us, and that's the problem that I have with this. It's taking it from like, okay, I disagree with your opinion, and I think Sarah Higdon, I can't speak for her, but I think she wouldn't have a problem with your take, Mary. She'd be like, fine, you don't have to call me whatever I want to be called, and why can't we respect each other to that extent?
All of the celebrities, as you can expect, were in the comments supporting this. Ellen DeGeneres said, "We still have a long way to go, but things will get better, and they'll get better because of you."
It's never going to get better in their eyes because there's no money to be made off better.
Well, there's always work to be done, and there's always money to be made.
Yep.
Oh, better to them means censoring like us right now. That's what their better looks like.
But even then, they will never publicly talk about that.
No.
Honestly, because to them there is no better, because all of it you have to constantly be fighting. Otherwise, you no longer have a reason to exist if you're not there constantly discussing all of the ways in which you yourself or others who are part of your group are being oppressed by other people. It's like
You're oppressed by yourself if you have this pathological need to be celebrated by every individual, every corporation, and the government. These are people with a pathological need for affirmation because they don't have it from within themselves. And for that reason, I feel bad for them, because you have to be incredibly insecure to need that type of affirmation constantly from all sides.
Yeah. I don't need anybody to affirm me. You don't even know me. Yeah. So like they want affirmation just because of their
or silence
identity
or silence. You're not allowed to have an opinion that disagrees with them in any way, shape, or form.
And it's not just Pride Month. It's all year that you have to celebrate these people constantly. Even in this video, Dylan Mulvaney says it. Your money isn't even enough. You have to, in your conscience, change how you feel about me as an individual.
It's also like, to me, the biggest problem with all this, it's like, it's one thing to feel that way if you decide to keep quiet, but if you decide to put yourself in the public square, you don't get to decide to be both a public figure with all of the positives that entails and none of the negatives or drawbacks. That's just part of the world, man.
She wants all that paper.
People are going to have, people disagree with things we say all the time, and that's just the way things are. I read a couple of very rude comments about my appearance in the chat today, and guess what? That's the way of the world. They're allowed to have their opinion, and that's fine. Nor does that make me any form of oppressed or as if I'm being targeted because that's true. They are allowed to have their opinion, and for whatever that means, you do not get to be both Dylan Mulvaney, who makes the money from Bud Light, and Dylan Mulvaney, who gets to hide from the public and stay under that self-affirmed lie that everything is perfect and everyone loves you exactly the way you are, because no one's going to love everyone just all the time, just the way they are.
Yeah. You also don't deserve to be affirmed for existing.
Yeah.
If you haven't done anything of value that I respect or admire.
Yeah,
that's kind of like why I say I'll honor you if I respect you. But let me say this for sure: Dylan Mulvaney though is got to be one of the most talented influencers ever of all time, right? I mean, I've watched. Obviously, we are not in the same page with our social and political, cultural views.
But as far as being good at what they're attempting to do,
he. Excellent at shorts and just look at the range of emotions in that statement. Oh, here, let me tell you a funny story.
Almost breaking into tears and then laughing by the end.
Exactly.
Like, this is a performer through and through.
Because he's an actor.
I think Dylan Mulvaney deserves an Oscar for the performance. It's an unbelievable performance.
Yeah. So the thing I take offense to is the idea that you deserve a life free from criticism or free from any type of pushback on who you are. Like, that's not realistic. And I'm sick. Like, one of those things you used to always hear and you never hear it anymore. Life's not fair. Life's not fucking fair. Deal with it, dude. That's the world we live in. Like, in a lot of ways, that's gotten lost. That's like it's like something from a previous generation. It's like the concept of people not wanting to be victims, right? That's something from a previous generation as well. People that used to recoil at the idea that they would be seen as anything other than strong, empowered, and comfortable in their own skin no matter what happened to them. That's a thing of the past because there's too much power, too much money to be made, and too much social currency in being a victim. And there's something particularly embarrassing about wanting to be able to be both a millionaire public figure and a victim. Please. I don't know. There's that was a long video.
He even acknowledged the privilege part. Said the word privilege in there, the white privilege.
It's clearly a veiled threat against Bud Light, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like, make your statement now or else.
Yep.
Which just makes them terrorists.
Sure would be a shame if now the left boycotted you as well.
It would sure be a shame if BlackRock didn't like you all anymore, or Vanguard, whoever.
Yeah, it's just a threat. It's just a threat, which is the definition of terrorism. It's just a veiled threat. All right, let's go to. We got some super chats there, do we not?
Wayward Soul said, I love Mads in Kojima's Death Stranding.
Mads Mikkelsen is a fantastic actor who, like I said, he saved that movie for me. And I would have, like, I imagine that movie, if they had given the role that Phoebe Waller-Bridge had to the other actress, the lady from the CIA, or they just changed her personality and made her less antagonistic, I feel like it would have, I still feel like it would have felt like a soulless cash grab, given all the CGI and the fact that Harrison Ford looks like he's about to pull a disc every time he jumps on something. Like, it felt like elder abuse at certain periods, didn't it?
Well, he got hurt in 2021.
Like, it felt like there was periods of elder abuse in there where they're like, dude, how much are they paying you? Like, you're Harrison Ford. You're Harrison Ford. You're rich. Do you need the money for this? Was this script?
It's like watching Biden play Indiana Jones.
I was thinking that actually while I was watching the movie.
Like, that's like it felt like one of those. It's like, you're Harrison Ford, you've got money, do you need to, like, there's nothing about this script that screams to me that you loved it so much you had to make this movie, because this is the send-off that Indiana Jones deserves. This movie is not that. So
it didn't need a send-off, though.
No.
I don't understand the need to, like, conclude it and wrap it in a bow.
Yeah.
Was that necessary?
No, I will say that
Some treasures should remain buried.
Sketch Therapy says Brett has eyes that are different colors. That is a minority, so oppressed, right, Brett? Yes, that's right. Me and my two different colored eyes, and I'm Slavic, so that way I am a minority and I'm being oppressed.
Yes,
exactly.
NF Dubs said, love the show. Keep up the great work. Thank you.
Do one more and then let's move on.
Mike has bad knees said, so glad to see Osiris on the show. Sorry you had to see this terrible movie.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't. I'll say Harrison Ford. Shout out to Mike has bad needs. Harrison Ford had those charming. He had a couple charming lines in there. He's just natural at that whole role.
Yeah. Look, I fully admit that my bias is mainly like, it really is. It's become one of those things where, like, it's possible to ruin a movie in the first 20 minutes for me. Maybe that's my own. Maybe that's what I'm coming to learn is, like, look, when I watched Transformers, I didn't like that either because there was annoying shit in the first 20 minutes. And if you ruin it in that first period of time, it's like you have a bad taste in your mouth and you can't get rid of it for the rest of it. So it's like, I didn't like the Batman because I felt that the Batman was overly long.
Well, they had that one line in Batman 2.
But even that wasn't till the midway point or closer to the end of the movie.
But can they do a movie without one of these lines? Like the Catwoman was,
they just got to fit the line
or whatever.
All those lines feel studio mandated.
And they ruined the whole movie. Just
they were
one
in
line.
Ant-Man Quantumania as well.
Yeah.
I'm complaining about capitalism.
They feel as if they're thrown in there by a studio executive who says you need to include something like this, or if anything, it feels like a compromise between, like, look, the movies were probably full of those lines in earlier drafts, and a good story editor got all of them out, and then basically to keep the writer from whining, left one in there just so that they could have their win. But what they're not realizing is them giving that writer their social justice win ruins it for people who are annoyed by stuff like that. But again, to their credit, look, people in the theater didn't seem to mind. Like, the people in the theater we were at were laughing, they were whooping. I'm not saying that other people aren't going to like this movie.
That was annoying. I think it's annoying to, like, comment and, like, make a big...
But they did it for the trailer on purpose. But if you go back to Raiders of the Lost Ark, one of my favorite lines in any of the Indiana Jones movie was top men. Do you remember the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark after they wrapped it all up? The U.S. government takes the Ark. And then Indiana Jones is asking the bureaucratic officials, what are you going to do with the Ark? And they say, well, I don't know. Top men are going to do something about that. Yeah. And Indiana Jones is like, top men? Who's top men? And they reply, top men. Basically talking about the administrative state, deep state type actors, and you compare that to so that line right there is like, it's not politics, it's like there's deep state people who make decisions. Yeah. So it's almost like comparing the Yahtzees to the American government, and he's like, I don't really trust either one of them with it.
Nor should you.
Much different than it's capitalism. You see how they changed it? They always had these little lines in these movies.
These aren't new concepts for things. It just used to be said in a different tone. It wasn't so current year. It didn't feel like whoever wrote the line just watched an episode of something, didn't watch CNN.
It wasn't polarizing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Want to keep going?
Do one more.
Okay. Sketch Therapy said the new socialist, eugenicists, segregationist, overpopulationists are a lot like the Weimar socialist, segregationists, overpopulationists. Nothing changed.
Things don't change very much. All right, let's move on, ladies and gentlemen, shall we? Let's talk about celebrities and censorship, because we were just talking about it with Dylan Mulvaney, were we not? Dylan Mulvaney believes that you should censor people if they have views that you don't like. Well, a lot of celebrities actually fall in line with that because Hollywood celebrities deep down are very authoritarian, at least in my personal opinion. 200 plus celebrities, including Jamie Lee Curtis, Elliot Page, demand big tech censorship regarding disinformation regarding transgender youth. What I mean by that when I say that celebrities are authoritarian is they fall into the class of people who are they're the offshoot of the ivory tower elites who believe that they know what's best for you and that you're the one that needs to change because you haven't realized what is true and what is right, and that they're just holding out hope that you'll figure it out. They don't want to have to censor you, but they will if they could. Right?
These are pressure campaigns from GLAAD and the Human Rights Campaign. Signatures include Jamie Lee Curtis, Amy Schumer, Camila Cabello, Cara Delevingne, Patrick Stewart, Alyssa Milano.
There's a $20 one right there from Mink Dink.
He said, "Happy early birthday, Brett. Hope that you have a great birthday and many more. Thank you for sharing your time and talents with us."
Thank you very much.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Yeah.
It will be on Sunday.
Who else? Shawn Mendes was on there. Judd Apatow.
Could Shawn Mendes go back to work already? It's time for this dude to start performing again. Like, I'm sick of hearing about his relationship stuff and about him going to he's going out on the town. Dude dropped like 50 concerts so that he could have a mental health break. Taylor Swift is adding concerts left and right. Maybe you need to be a little bit more like Taylor Swift and a little bit less like Shawn Mendes.
Some likely suspects on here: Billy Eichner, Billy Porter, Bella Ramsey.
Yep.
And I think what they want to do is, I think Disney long term.
Dylan Mulvaney's on the list.
Oh my gosh! I think long term they want to squash their competition.
Yep.
Is what it is.
It's what I've realized is that more than any type of push for some ideological ends, the number one way that they influence people, it's not by what they report, it's what they don't report, what doesn't make it to public eye. So by squashing the competition, by making it so only their opinions are the ones that are heard, you influence people far faster than you do by simply providing the best argument and letting the opposition speak freely, right? So they don't need to necessarily present a great argument as to why they believe what they believe. They just need to make sure that other people who are also influential aren't allowed to say what they believe.
So they're calling on Zuckerberg from Meta. They're calling on the CEO of YouTube, Elon Musk, and all of these big tech CEOs to meet with community leaders and creators to hear about real-world harms that result from anti-trans content on your platforms, and to create and share plans for how you will address content that spreads malicious lies and disinformation about medically necessary health care for transgender youth, accounts and postings that perpetuate anti-LGBTQ extremist hate, dehumanizing hateful attacks on prominent transgender public figures and influencers, Dylan Mulvaney included, anti-transgender hate speech, including targeted misgendering, dead naming, and hate-driven tropes. In my opinion, this is just a violation of our freedom of conscience that we can't dead name or misgender someone specifically, because honestly, it would possibly fall under people's religious convictions. And if we're not allowed to call this out for what it is, do we really have any freedom of conscience anymore?
No. And as they funnel people online, they have more control over it.
This it also says this call to action follows the release of GLAAD's third annual Social Media Safety Index, a report on LGBT user safety, privacy, and expression. The idea that you would need to protect yourself from, be safe on social media, it contradicts itself. Just close the laptop.
Yeah, and
turn off the phone.
It implies that
stop looking at the screen.
Yeah, the right that it almost implies that social media is the right, and then they want to censor you. So they want it both ways. They are acknowledging the importance of social media, but then they don't want like anything close to free speech.
They concluded that all 5 major social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter, received low and failing scores on GLAAD's Social Media Safety Index platform scorecard. I pulled up their scores.
This is an
It says,
unsolvable problem.
Instagram got 63%, Facebook got 61%, TikTok 57%, YouTube 54%, and Twitter 33% at the very bottom.
The Twitter one
no
does not
surprise there.
The Twitter one does not surprise me.
As Elon Musk has been speaking out saying, obviously we shouldn't be doing irreparable damage to young people who are just confused about their identity.
But he also shouldn't be calling cis a slur. Like he shouldn't be banning
I
people
agree
to
with that.
say
I feel
that
like
either.
that's-
Just say like
Have
grow
people
some-
actually been getting banned for that, or was
No
that just a
idea.
joke the whole time?
No, it wasn't a joke, but no, I don't think anybody's being
like
banned. But.
just
I love Jordan Peterson's tweet, like, call me cis in real life and see what happens.
I love the idea
He's just wild on Twitter.
Yes.
I love the idea of like Jordan Peterson just
Just
fisticuffs.
clocking
Yeah.
someone for calling him
Fisticuffs
cisgender.
Jordan Peterson. Like he stops to take off his really nice two-tone jacket.
He's like, someone hold
then-
my satin tie.
And then
for me.
he hits him with the put your dukes up. Put your dukes up, says Jordan. And then like no, you know what he does? He hands the jacket to Michaela. To Michaela Peterson. She takes the jacket as she's
World
like
star.
Yeah, like
Seamus, you should do this for a Freedom's tune.
yeah, like
yeah.
and then and he's like, let's fight. Like I'm so down for this.
Their recommendations are strengthening and enforcing existing policies. I say get rid of those policies altogether. Training moderators on the needs of LGBTQ users. And I can't believe they would use the language of needs. Like you're in a relationship and this is your boyfriend. Like you're not meeting my emotional needs.
Well,
Twitter.
that's the entitlement of all this. Like us expecting the world to form around you and your needs.
This one I actually agree with, but in a different way. They said be transparent with regard to content moderation, terms of service policy implementation, algorithm, and enforcement reports. They're not I believe like Twitter has not actually changed that much. People still get banned for stupid shit all the time. I still see it, and him appointing a female CEO was a big red flag for me, because I just don't believe any school marm that you put at the top of a big tech company is going to be a trustworthy individual. And also it said stop violating privacy and respect data privacy.
Yeah.
Platforms should reduce the amount of data they collect and retain. I
agree.
also agree with
Unless
that.
the data that they want you to reveal is the data of hateful people, in which case they don't care about your privacy.
They also said promote civil discourse. The way they want us to promote civil discourse is by banning all discourse they consider not acceptable.
Which is everything, because everything
Where's
that
the
doesn't
discourse if there are only if there's not two sides to an issue? Where's the discourse
There
if
is
there's
no
only
di-
one side that
there
you're
is
allowed to
none.
be on?
There is none.
there is none.
But yeah, this is just like
But to me, it's an example
the
of
ultimate like longhousing of social media. And I really mourn the loss of the way that social media felt. Like even in 2016, it was like a free-for-all, and even then the censorship was out of control. Imagine the potential of the internet and social media if we weren't censored.
Yeah.
Even just on this channel, there are so many things that we stay away from or that we censor ourselves on. And it's more of a psychological war for us to start censoring ourselves rather than relying on the policies to censor us.
I don't. I just hate the idea that anybody gets to decide how the world how the world actually works. When you're born and your parents raise you and you go out into the adult world, essentially in a lot of ways on your own. Like we've talked recently about how like America's one of the few places where we just kick them out at 18. Get the hell out of here. Go figure it out for yourself, right? You learn from a young age, if you've been on your own, that the world can be a nasty place that isn't going to always be able to bend to your every whim. If anything, a mark of a strong person is someone who can take all of the crap that life throws at you and handle it with a little bit of grace and strength. And the idea that not only do they not want to even build up the muscles to do that, but actively allow the world to calcify around them in such a negative way that we're supposed to create some utopian fake world just for their benefit is unbelievably narcissistic.
I wanted to also read this part of a statement from the GLAAD president. It's about time social media CEOs hear from leaders on their platforms whose content and creativity drive profits and revenue for them. I agree. Imagine if, our content or the content that other like dissident people put out weren't shadow banned or artificially pushed down in the algorithms, and how much revenue they're leaving on the table by silencing these people. They could make so much more money by letting the discourse actually be free.
That requires agency.
And even
from all
on Twitter,
parties.
that's never going to happen. But like, again, Elon Musk isn't your father. He's not your boyfriend or your husband. He doesn't need to meet your emotional needs. He doesn't know you or care about you. And he doesn't have to. Like, the expectation is just wild to me. But yeah, like, can you guys imagine like how good it would feel to be on Twitter if it weren't such a cesspool, and if you were allowed to say what you really thought about these topics?
Like how much of it now?
Or if you were allowed to make the jokes that you want to make, like how much human potential is actually being stifled in real time?
Humor,
it's
especially.
incalculable.
Humor, especially,
Yeah.
because there's no distinction made anymore between humor and wrongthink and bad speech.
Yeah, and this is also created. It's done. That's why I think people call it neo-Marxism. It's designed to break us up into two. I think the echo chamber is the strong part about the algorithm that you're talking about, is that you're kind of boxed in with only a group that thinks like you. And a lot of times when I talk to people who we disagree, politically or whatever, a lot of times we end up saying, okay, no beef, and then follow each other.
Yeah.
But it's like done to minimize the possibility of that.
And a lot of people, they naturally fall into those echo chambers, so they're not going to have those conversations with people that they actually disagree with, when it would actually be beneficial for all parties involved to do so. I don't know.
I love that Hailey Bieber is also on the signatures list, but Justin isn't. And I'm just imagining her like...
She's like, will you sign this? He's like, no.
She's on the petition and she's like, babe, I need you to sign this. And he's like, no.
Was it Justin Bieber's dad that had that statement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did he say?
He's like, if you're gay, like, thank a straight couple for
for your existence.
Yeah, like his dad.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah, is that
everyone's
how
gay?
is that controversial?
Humanity is going to die out. So
because we know that when things like that are said now, it's not like he just woke up one day and said that. There was some type of inflection point that made it necessary to say it out loud, which means it comes from a place of arguing with another person online, a person who right now is wielding the power to silence you because you said something that makes them feel uncomfortable. So I don't know. I just and then of course, like, it's going to get worse in Hollywood because all the people signing these these letters, these open letters, are the ones that are going to be steadfast in making media that portrays the internet as a dangerous, evil place, that portrays everyone that doesn't fall in line with their beliefs as sarcastically, almost villainously evil, as in they're over the top and ridiculous, rather than just a human being that sees the world differently than them. And to their point, that comes from a world where everything in make-believe is supposed to be done over the top and ridiculous. There aren't a lot of layers to a lot of the people like that. Your average billionaire character in a movie is essentially a super villain now. They're not just a person who runs a business.
Even going after Batman for being, Bruce Wayne. We were talking about Ralphie May before. What do you think Ralphie May, if he were alive today, what would he be saying about our culture?
That's a damn good question. What would Ralphie May?
You wouldn't be able to say it on YouTube. What he?
No, we would not be able to say on YouTube right now what he said in that special. But it would be a breath of fresh air to have him on there. I would love to get his take on that, as well as stuff to do with like body positivity. Given the fact, like, I think he'd lean into it, and I think he'd make jokes about it. Yeah, because it's part of his humor. But it would have been great to see that. So
I also wanted to mention the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis is on this petition. If you have the courage, go ahead and look into that horrifying rabbit hole about like who is Jamie Lee Curtis's child, trans child. This is an adult, by the way, who is clearly a fetishist, and I don't consider trans people to be a monolith, but they've been mistakenly all categorized as one thing. This is clearly an autogynephile who gets off on dressing up and cross-dressing as a woman. And there are a lot of young people, like actual children who identify as trans, that are getting lumped into the same category as grown-ass men with beards that are walking into women's restrooms to like be peeping toms. Like it's very deceptive, but they're using them as the human shield for all of these petitions.
Yeah, when you
pressure
can't
campaigns.
when you can't complain, when you can't push back because you might be hurting someone, they get all the leverage.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to super chats. We got a couple there.
Disco Jensen said Kathleen Kennedy is holding a grudge against her peers Spielberg and Lucas, maybe even Cameron. How can she hold a grudge against them if she got her career off of
Because she's a feminist. Because she's a feminist.
But I think it's good to have a face of something to rally around to kind of take power from these people. But it's bigger than Kathleen Kennedy. I mean, all these companies are doing the same type of stuff.
Yeah, but Disney uniquely owns, seems to be doing it to all of the same type of male characters in their IP, more so than the others.
But do you think it's really coming from her, or is it just known that that's what you're supposed to do?
That's a very good question. I'm not sure. I mean, I would like to think that if it wasn't her, then maybe the stories would have gone a little bit different in another direction. Not all of them would have gone down the same route, but I do think that it's probably mostly her marching orders.
Yeah.
I just think Bob Iger doesn't interfere.
Yep.
Unusable Alpaca said, yes, Into the Badlands, Kurosawa vibes. Yep. It's shot great with outstanding writing and fight scenes. The characters are tax heroes as well.
Yeah, everyone, if you have not seen Into the Badlands, it is on Netflix. It is fantastic. If you want to see really, really good done martial arts fight scenes, it's fantastic. Also, tons of awesome, strong female characters that rule, that are not annoying. And are there? Yeah, there's a couple that are more impressive than others. But the main characters, they do such good work with the main characters. The villain, like the main villain, like Mark Casakis' villain, is a little bit over the top, but it's great. Like he sounds like Leo in Django Unchained. Like he's got the same voice as him. But it's a great show. Everyone should go check it out.
BMF Nate Dogg said, if feminists won't show up to watch women's sports, they won't show up for James Bond.
But will they show up for Barbie? That's the real question we need to ask right now, because that's who they're marketing Barbie towards, right? Like the joke is always that no one goes and like WNBA fails because women don't go see it, right? But will they go see Barbie?
Barbie's going to do well.
Yep. Well,
I think it will too.
Yep. It's we'll see if it makes that $100 million mark. If it makes $100 million, it will have beat out The Little Mermaid at the box office.
You might love Barbie so much that you can't bring yourself to leave the theater to go to Oppenheimer. Maybe that's, or maybe just you might be blown away.
Maybe the 3-hour runtime of Oppenheimer is just so daunting that I'm like, I'm just gonna stay here. I'll be like, maybe I can lie and be like the studio.
Well, you'll walk into Oppenheimer just in time for the explosion.
Perfect. Perfect.
Hiroshima Otaru said, just an Instagram video, as if it isn't bigger than TV.
Yeah, talking about Dylan Mulvaney, that is true. As if social media isn't at this point now far bigger than what
than
we
a
get,
billboard.
Than
I mean, we've been on a billboard and it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yep.
Corey Anderson said, Dylan is starting to look like my mother-in-law. Sorry, Rebecca.
Oh my God.
That's not very nice. That's not very nice. Let's hold off on the rest. Let's come back.
We've got some light fare for the end of the show.
Yeah.
Yes. Mary, tell us about Adam 22.
Adam 22, if you didn't know, is a podcaster on No Jumper, and he recently got married to his now wife, Lena the Plug, and she is a porn star. They have done porn together in the past, but the rest of her content has been with other women. And now she has recently unveiled her first video with another man than her husband. And Adam 22 is coping hard about it. Want to watch the clip?
Yeah, let's watch the clip. Is it the first one? The No Jumper owner Adam 22?
Yes.
Okay, here we go, guys.
I feel like Destiny might have a perspective on this, but so I've been with my girl for 7 years. We just got married. We're not in an open relationship, but from a porn perspective, we shoot with other girls, stuff like that, right?
We're not in an open relationship, but she does have sex with other
busting
people.
her coochie and ass out.
Well, you guessed it. Over the weekend,
Oh no.
Something like that happened.
she filmed her first ever scene with another man.
I know you was mad.
Shit.
You was angry.
I agreed to it, so I wasn't. I say angry might not be the word.
But you was kind of like disappointed a little bit. Like, you
Angry isn't the word. Maybe just devastation.
You know, I agreed to it. She gave me a lot
Broken.
of outs on the way in. Like she kind of kept telling me, like, if you don't want me to, I won't do it.
If you're that insecure, I won't do it, babe.
I said that I wanted her to do it.
You have
I'm
to
like,
let me girl
Millions
boss.
of dollars, Adam. You didn't do that shit.
fair enough, but I
Come
told her,
on,
I'm like, I think you should do it. Let's get it
All
out
right,
the way.
so how do you five about it now?
She's
Do I
32.
need to get you an old English?
No, Yeah, I don't need to drown the pain in Old English. But I was kind of surprised because I feel like I can like intellectualize it, and from my perspective, I don't think it should be a big deal. Yeah. But then after she actually did it, I'm not gonna lie, I did feel kind of odd.
Shocking.
A
A little bit of that feeling in the belly,
odd.
you know?
Well, like, goddamn,
black?
like, for real?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
goddamn,
man.
like,
Yo, I could, bro.
Ooh, that was awkward.
Yeah. Also, like, this is definitely not the first time she's cheated on Adam 22, I would bet.
Just
Like, look at their wedding photos and you'll see a face that's like, I've cheated on this guy before. Also, like, the green lines in their wedding video are way off. When they said, like, you know, kiss the bride, she literally leaned away from him and was like, oh, and he was like leaning into her. Bad form. But there's this article from Barstool Sports. Progressive king Adam 22 agreed to let his wife star in a porn with another man. Bonus, pros and cons of letting your significant other do porn. Let's take a look at it. Pro, your wife makes an awesome hourly wage. Con, the whole world will be able to watch your wife get effed for the rest of eternity. Pro, you'll be able to watch your wife get effed whenever you want for the rest of eternity. Not sure that's a pro.
how is that a
Con,
pro?
Yeah, this,
depression. Pro, she's going to owe you one. If you're kind enough to let her do the porn, she's going to be appreciative and will want to do something for you in return.
So it's like a weird
That
type
is
of
true.
bargain.
Maybe she'll buy you a PS5. This is like when your wife buys you a Nintendo Switch because you got a vasectomy.
I forgot about that. Holy shit.
Con, the guy in the porn is going to be better at sex than you. Pro, would be hilarious fun fact to say on your first day of class if you decide to go back to college someday.
They're really
That would make everyone in the room uncomfortable.
they're really reaching for the pros here.
yeah.
Con, every time you hang out with your wife in front of people, you're going to be wondering if everyone has seen the video. The answer is yes, they've all seen it. Pro, she'll make porn star friends and you'll get to hang out with them.
Why is that
They're
a pro?
really reaching here.
Why is that a pro? Like, if he doesn't get to sleep with them, what's the point of having porn star
Here's
friends?
a pro, more time to yourself. Also, more time to cheat on your wife. He has done videos with other women, by the way, so it is a bit of a double standard. But like the fact that it's shocking that he would feel odd about this in our culture. Like, same thing with situationships. People are like, this guy just told me that the only person he ever wants to be with is his ex, and then he made me eggs on toast and then nutted in me. What is going on? And it's like, what is going on? What is going on is that you have no self-respect. Situationships are ugly. It's always one-sided, too.
Have you seen that meme? It says like just like had dinner, like got a dude dinner, had sex with him, and sent him home in an Uber. Let's see how he likes it. And all the memes are guys just like, like the guys are never going to care if that's
men are winning. In
the
that
men,
situation.
the men are not losing in that one. I'm
Another
sorry.
con, her porn friends will convince her to quit her job and to do porn full time. Another con, the descent into a loveless marriage. Pro, divorce check. Con, jokes. Your asshole friends will make funny remarks to you for the rest of your life. You'll laugh them off. That's what friends do and all. But deep down, it's always going to be a little hurtful. And pro is you'll get the last laugh. Years later, when your ex-wife has been chewed up and spit out by the industry and you're settled down with a nice elementary school teacher, she'll look back on your relationship and wonder if all the porn was worth ruining your marriage over. In the end, she'll be the one with more regrets.
There's some diabolical thought behind that one. Like that, there was some forethought into that one.
How ugly this situation is.
Yeah.
His pinned tweet is their wedding video, and her pinned tweet is a video of her with another man.
Yeah.
Priorities.
I've heard you, Mary, talk about this when you talk about it from the woman's side when they're doing OnlyFans or whatever. It's like a little bit of them is dying inside. And when I heard him speak, it was like, that's why it was awkward for me. Because I felt like for a lot of us guys, our emotions don't come out as easily or as well. And I felt like he was dying inside. He didn't sound good.
I think I've also said this, that women look for emotional exclusivity in a relationship where they get to be the only one that gets to see a man's vulnerability and love him through that. And men value, I mean, both of these value both, but men value having sexual exclusivity with a woman. And that's not something that's, I guess, politically correct to say now, because Adam 22 is shocked that he feels a certain type of way about his woman having sex with another man.
I wish them the best.
To see someone this empty inside.
I wish them the best, but since they made it public and we can see it, it's not going to last like this. You can just see it in hear it in his voice. And Andrew Schultz, the comedian, who I think very highly of, he's hilarious. He had a clip a little while back where he went to church and he almost cried on his stream. He got emotional, like when he went to church. He's like, "Man, I felt something." I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know Adam 22, but it kind of feels like he might head down that route at some point in his life.
This is like a Will Smith laughing through the pain moment for him.
Yes.
Well, yeah, like think about that. Like
it's the smack without
and also
the smack.
the way that other men are going to regard you with less respect for the rest of your life.
Not even just the smack, but like she had her entanglement and he just had to accept it, and that was just, wouldn't want to be a bad husband, would you? And not accept the fact that your wife slept with a dude half your age. One of your own children's friends.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, and did Will Smith seem happy? No. Adam 22.
Will Smith hasn't seemed happy in a very long time.
Yep.
He also said, like, Destiny, you might have some insight about this. It's because Destiny is in a polyamorous relationship with his wife, who is way out of his league and is obviously a cuck, but his cope about it is like, oh no, she only hooks up with other women. Which is weird because it's like, do you not consider her being with other women also having sex with other people? Or do you view like that type of sex as like sex light? Do you view those people as less than people?
Yeah.
You can hear
it's
it
just
in
an odd mindset.
He can't hide it. You talk to him face to face. He can't hide it. It is a cope, and just how it comes across. There's a viral clip with Destiny, and I like Destiny, so no beef with him, but I forgot the name of the streamer dude ended up dancing with his wife.
Yes.
Did you see that clip?
I think it was like Abba and Preach.
Yeah, it was Abba.
Yeah,
did you see him? And it was just some random video.
We reacted to that video on stream too.
Oh, did you react to it?
Yeah, because I was like, I want to bring this up because people were talking about it before the show. And they were like, oh, people are just blowing this out of proportion. Like, it was a nothing. But you can see a look on Destiny's face. He's just like devastated inside. And it's like, yeah, she only values you for your money. So what did you think was going to happen?
I don't know. It's why would he volunteer too? He's the one who brought it up.
Right.
He brought it up. Like, he didn't have to do that,
it's a secular form of confession.
I guess. Like it would be one thing if somebody was like pushing him for the information. They're like, look, the other day I was looking at your social media page and I saw that beautiful video you have pinned to your page about with your wife on your wedding day. That was awesome. So I clicked on her page and saw that she had this pinned video where she was getting drilled by this other dude, and I was wondering what the hell is up, man. And he's
what's that all about?
Yeah, what's that all about? But he's like, hey guys, I got a story. Want to hear about the ritualistic humiliation between me and my wife when I decided to let her get pounded by another dude? Like, that's just weird. Like, why would you be the one to volunteer that? Have you no shame?
Good content, and he needs to be put on the couch and talked about it. That's what it was. A cry for help.
Well, like maybe get on the couch without a camera on you and do it without the camera.
Go to therapy or something.
Like, that's what they do, right? They
also, big red flag that they've been dating for 7 years before getting married. Who was even pushing for that? Who was the one that wanted to get married?
You think it was him?
And what does it even mean to get married at that point?
So you think
if
it was
doesn't
him?
mean monogamy.
You think it was him who wanted
I don't
to get
know.
married? And he's like,
I mean, it's
fair
clearly
questions.
She's like, look, fine, I'll marry you, but I get to have sex with
they
other dudes.
already have a kid together, I believe, too. And what's this kid gonna think when they grow up and see that this is my parents' relationship? Like, it's so undignified. And people say it all the time, but like, your kid is gonna get bullied for this shit.
Yeah. And I think it would be one of those things where like he wanted to get married the whole time and she's like, look, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
No. And he's like, fine, I'll let you have sex with other dudes.
Which, by the way, having a kid with someone is more of a commitment than getting married because you're then tethered to them for the rest of your life. So I don't understand the hesitance to get married after you've already like hitched up.
Great question.
I mean, it's an interesting sign of like just how much we're willing to share with the world when that type, like, I guess it speaks to his own values. Like maybe he isn't as like it. If he was as embarrassed about this as we assume he is, would he have shared it? So maybe he just isn't.
It's a guy that like probably derives all of his self-worth or self-respect to how many bitches he can get, and he can't even get his own wife.
It's very interesting because it's like I could understand if this is something he was keeping private and it got leaked, and then you're like, why would you do that? But if he volunteers the information, his own dignity may be something that he doesn't value as much as you think. Otherwise, he wouldn't have shared it.
This is why like consent isn't the barometer for whether something is right or wrong, because clearly he consented to this happening. His wife consented, the other guy consented, and everyone is miserable.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And also the idea that like things you do in private between consenting adults doesn't affect like a ripple effect for the rest of society is absurd to me.
Well, I mean, if you're not volunteering the information to the public,
regardless, even if it were private, your private degeneracy still, whether you like it or not, does affect the public.
If you don't share it, not to the same volume.
Well, sure, not to the same volume, but
and I guess, but like that still, we
have a collective consciousness and we have a collective morality, and it's affected by what you do in private as well as in public.
The opposite of a more illiberal society, though, would put reins on it, and I'm not comfortable with the clamping down based on somebody else's generalized standards of what morality is. What morality is to you, obviously objective morality, but different people, once morality finds its way into politics and finds its way into society, it always ends up getting bent to the needs of people who aren't doing it for the right reasons, and I don't want necessarily somebody being the one to...
No. But
All
I
I'm
don't think
saying
Mary's
is-
calling for that. She's just saying this is what...
Objective morality still exists in private, and it's the reason why he feels this way, clearly.
It's still weird that he was the one who volunteered it. It's just weird to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Someone also said, if your girl is posting bikini pics on Instagram to solicit attention from other men, I've got bad news for you. Yeah.
Agreed?
It's just another degree of the same thing.
Yep.
You know?
Make sure she's got a private profile, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, at least, like, I don't know. Maybe that's, like, controversial now, but I think you shouldn't be posting pictures of yourself almost naked on social media.
That is like these days, that is actually
Yeah.
considered controversial.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go to super chats. We got some.
Austin AOK said, beat Mary, get him, drag her, slay her, sipping on that hunty honey gag. Sketch therapy. Someone's watched too much RuPaul. Sketch therapy said, wait, what is this? T wants to stop LNG from existing chemically and surgically. I disagree on that, but it's too much to get into right now. Sketch therapy also said, different colored eyes parade when you're a minority. We need a heterochromia month.
Yeah.
To celebrate people with heterochromia.
Let's go.
Carnell said, happy early birthday. Or sorry, I already read that one.
And that is...
Or no, he also said, I hope you have safe travels home and a good time visiting family and friends. We need a Brett Recommends for when you're away.
Into the Badlands will be your Brett Recommends for the day. Also, actually, you know what? Never mind. Go watch the original Indiana Jones trilogy. Do that instead.
Irishima Artaru said, she will not appreciate you. She'll have contempt. Disco... Yeah, I mean, if she can't respect you, then, like, what do you really have? Disco Jensen said the game is totally rigged. The cultural norm being so extreme, it's affecting marriage rates and birth rates. Degeneracy destroys families. True.
All right. My friend, let everyone know where they can find you. Actually, let's go. Before we do this, guys, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? I do want to give everyone a heads up before we go that we are going to be out of town next week. I'm going to be out of town through Wednesday, so we will be back on Thursday. So look forward to that. That is episode 400. We're going to be streaming the whole day. I think noon to 5 or 6. Does that sound good to you?
Sounds good.
We're gonna hopefully we'll have an open door policy. Anybody that's here wants to come up and say hi can. Otherwise, it will be a much more laid back stream. I'm gonna see if we can get some graphics posted up on social media to remind people that the stream will start at a different time than normal. on that day. So it's just a heads up for then. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But Osiris, let everyone know where they can find you.
Yes. If you're traveling, just check the airports. It's, at least for me, it was crazy out there. But my name's Wayne McEachran. I go by Osiris, the channel on Rumble now. I have a lot on YouTube, but I'm going over to Rumble to have more free speech. Middle Maga. And it's not all politics, talk culture, like the stuff we talked here, and Eric July's Rippaverse, and there's a guy, Carlos. Shout out to Carlos. He's doing a Transformers remake, Prime Animations, and I talk about that stuff. Visit the website or YouTube, Rumble, Middle Maga. Thank you so much, Brett, Mary, for having me.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you. That was a
here.
lot of fun. All right, Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram or send me hate on Twitter. They are both Mary archived.
All right. And in the chat, it will be 12 to 5 or 12 to 6 Eastern Standard Time.
I'm thinking we're also going to do a meme review during that episode.
Yes. All right. Guys, if you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. Pop Culture Crisis is here normally Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific, so please tune in. If you'd like to listen rather than watch, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify.
Give us 5 stars reviews on those listening platforms if you use them.
Yes, exactly. And if you'd like to follow us on social media, we are on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We will be back with another episode next Thursday. And if somebody wants to make a 4th crisis party happen off air, I'd welcome them doing that. But until then, we'll see you then, guys. Later.
Bye.
Peace.